Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Oh, Superman is what I can do. Clark is who I am.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice the American way.
You're going to end up fighting every elected official in this country.
Well, Lois, the truth is I'm actually Superman in disguise, and I only pretend to be a journalist in order to hear about disasters as they happen and then squeeze you out of the byline.
You're a sick man, Kent.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to My Summer with Superman 2026 edition.
It's a new year. Super New Year.
Super New Year to you. I am one of your super hosts, Jacob DeNoble. With me, as
I'm your
always.
other host. Oh, sorry. See, we haven't done this in a minute.
I know. I feel like we've never gotten the rhythm of this established enough.
Yeah, I think that part of it is probably my fault because I'm so used to, for so long, being the person that would have the little rap memorized.
The throw, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's me also, Chris Haley. Hello.
Hello. Welcome. Welcome to a new year of new super friends and family. I'm excited. It's so good to talk to you again.
It's so good to talk to you, bud. Not that we don't still talk, but we don't talk like this all the time.
Yeah.
And it's always a treat to get to do this. But man, it's already we're barely into 2026, and there's lots of stuff to talk about. Things from our past episodes just recently have already been debunked or changed or. Because I was re-listening to the first December episode where I was all excited about Matt Smith being Brainiac, and it's boy, that's sure not happening.
Yeah.
But I think we did talk about by the time we did that second December episode right before Christmas, I think we had talked about that the guy that is going to be playing Brainiac, whose name I cannot recall.
Yeah. Brainiac again.
But anyway, what's been going on?
You're going to be proud of me.
Oh, boy. All right. I'm always proud of you, Jacob. Come on.
I watched all of season 1 of Peacemaker.
Oh, nice. What did you think?
It's fucking great, man. What a good show.
It's really good, right?
Man, so I watched all season 1. You'll laugh. I'm 1 episode into the second season. I stalled out for a minute, but yeah, it's over Christmas. My wife's college-aged siblings came and stayed with us for a week and a half. Right. And they had gotten us a Lego Game Boy set kit.
Yeah.
You've seen that, right?
I believe you build. Yeah, I think you sent me the picture of it.
And so one day they were going to watch something I wasn't really that interested in. So I put my headphones on. I put Peacemaker on. I had my little Legos. I built it. And I watched 3 episodes. And then I was like, you know what? I need to do a full I have a big wardrobe that had fallen into complete disarray. Stuff was just, I was like, I need to do a complete, pull everything out, decide where everything goes anew.
Feels good to do that sometimes.
So I did that and watched another 2 episodes, and then I watched the last one on the TV because I was actually getting into it. I was like,
yeah,
what a great show, man! What a great show!
What a great show! I love when a show can pull that trick. I mean, and this show is great with it for both seasons. Where the first time you hear that song, and you're just like, what on earth? I mean, and I I listen to a lot of metal and stuff like that. It's not like I'm against it, but I was just like, what a weird choice for a thing. And then cut to a few weeks later, and it's couldn't be more excited to hear that song. And then they do a new song for the second season.
Yeah.
And it's first episode, I'm like, this is such a downgrade from the song in the first season to then get to the end of the second season. And I'm crying hearing that song.
Oh, man, and this will tie into other stuff I'm sure we'll talk about. So when I was doing my shoveling after the big snowstorm hit us,
I was listening
to the Foxy Shazam album that comes from.
Oh, fantastic!
And
Are you fans of them already, or
So
were you
I
listening
was
to it
like,
because of that?
I had known a couple of their songs, but like wasn't a huge fan. Danielle, my wife, is a big fan.
Oh, cool.
To the point where when we saw Superman and it like showed like, she's like, they were the Mighty Mighty Crabjoys. I was like, yeah, so I'm listening to it and just like that song comes on and like, I don't think I realized it was like a father talking to a kid. And then I'm just like listening to that song and just like sobbing while shoveling snow. It was, man, and like, it got to the point where I'm like, because it's like, I feel like that music sounds like what James Gunn writes like every song on that album. I'm just like, I could see a Peacemaker scene. I could see Peacemaker to this. Man.
So wait, so you only got through the first episode of the second season so far?
I think so. I think that's where I left off.
Okay. Man, what's funny is that first episode is like, it's good, but it's also like, it does a lot of, stuff that you don't see in the rest of the season, where it seems like they're trying, like almost kind of trying to be, maybe like even trying to like shock some people, or I don't know what I need more time with my thoughts to think about, or I need to go back and rewatch that season to really, maybe it was like
to establish that unlike the MCU, which has a narrower band of like content ratings, the DCU is like, we can do something as like family friendly as Superman or as R-rated as this.
the exact next thing that follows and directly ties in story-wise to the big movie you just saw.
Yeah.
It's going to have a full-on coke orgy in the first episode.
I had heard so much about it. I was surprised by how tame I found it.
Well, I think I told you this on the episode we were talking about, where I was like, I had seen the little like content warning thing at the beginning, and it said like, rated whatever for language and smoking. And I was like, oh, okay, so this one's going to be pretty tame. And then all of a sudden that happened. And I was like, what is going on here? And it was just like, if I hadn't clocked that right at the beginning of the episode, it wouldn't have done that. But it set me up to be in such a wrong expectation of what was going to happen. I mean, not that it bothered me, but it was just like, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
Because I was not expecting it. But then to see the rest of the season, where it goes from there, and how it's like, it's shocking in other ways, but not that same kind of, but even though that, like, by the time you get to the end of that scene, it's like, oh, this is so depressing. Like, the point of this is that it's like, he's getting no joy from any of this because anyway.
Question for this is just a nerd question for you.
How many coke orgies have been to?
Yep, that classic nerd question we all know and love.
The answer's 0, but go ahead.
So a lot of ink was spilled about how Frank Grillo's hair is not gray in Superman. And he was like, I was shooting something else, so I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Do you think the next time we see him, say he's not doing something else, do you think they're going to stick with the dark hair, or do you think he's going to suddenly be gray, or maybe graying?
I bet they'll probably do some graying, both as Well, I liked here. I feel like I heard on, it may have been on like one of the podcasts, I think, because there's an episode of the official Peacemaker podcast that they do. It's on YouTube and on HBO Max, and one of the episodes, he's like the guest on there with oh shoot, what's her name on the show? She's Sasha Bordeaux on the show, right?
Oh,
with
yes.
Oh wait, I forgot you've only seen the first episode.
Well, I've read about.
Yeah. Well, anyway, she's on. I think it's the two of them were the guests that week, and I think they brought that up directly, to him and James Gunn, or it came up in them talking about it, and I think that he said something like that. The explanation for it, even though reality is that he was shooting something else and couldn't do it. I mean, and he's got dark hair. I mean, it's definitely, it's not like how it looks on the cartoon. But their like in-world answer for that was that like when he got this new job as the head of what is it?
Is it
what are they
Argus?
even called? Argus? Is that what it is? It's Argus? Regardless, the point is at the start of the second season of Peacemaker.
It is Argus.
Okay. All right. See, we're good.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have doubted ourselves. The he gets promoted to being the head. He basically taken over for Amanda Waller.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is that because this was like a big promotion and a big thing, whatever, that it's like he is vain enough that then he's like, oh, I better start dyeing my hair to look, younger. So it's like I think that they'll probably keep him more like that, but I would say that they might, by the time we get to Man of Tomorrow, they might be showing signs of how it's
I'd love to see it like half grown out.
I don't want to spoil anything for you, even though I think a lot of the stuff has already been spoiled for you.
Yeah.
But it's this is just making me want to rewatch it too.
I will probably have watched all of it by the next time we talk.
I'm trying to not. I keep wanting to go back into this world.
Yeah.
But I'm like, don't watch Superman too much. Don't like. It's a special thing, and it's still so potent. Every time I watch it, it's still like. Is just incredible how much it still works, how much it still gets me, how much it's still like I couldn't be happier with it. So I'm going like, don't burn it out. Don't waste it. But so, yeah, maybe I'll go back and watch Peacemaker again.
I don't know if the last time we talked, if I had watched the 4K yet.
I don't know if you had either. I'm trying to remember.
I got the 4K. Grub was having a great sale. I guess it looks like I did. I don't know if we talked about it. This was November 19th. Thank you, Letterboxd.
We must have then. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure we would have then.
But man, that movie fucking like, because we watched I would watch it kind of a lot for this show. Like, oh, I'm watching the commentary. Oh, it's streaming. I'll throw it on. But yeah. With the 4K, I like to sit, dark house.
You got to really pay attention.
Make some popcorn, turn it into a night, and that's a fucking movie, man.
Good stuff. I hope everyone listening. I hope you guys you had a good holiday.
Yeah.
Hope you're having a good 2026 so far, in as much as that is possible on a personal level, despite the goings on in the world. I hope that Superman still continues to be both the movie and the character continues to be a source of joy and happiness and hope and belief that things can get better, that people can make a difference, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, and we can cut this if we have to.
Okay.
Did you get the Christmas present I sent you?
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, what was funny was at first the reason I didn't say something to you is because I was like, I couldn't, my brain could not figure out. I was like, what, where did this, why, how is this happening? What is the deal here? And it wasn't until I think it was probably several days later where I was going oh, wait a minute. I know what this means. I know what this is. Which also, so first of all, I'm glad I didn't text you about it yet, because now I get to say thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Of course.
He got me. And what's funny is I was going, oh, the next time we record, I should have it with me here, just to be sitting here watching. I could put him back up there somewhere. Have him. Is this fantastic Superman standee? Which I don't even know if it happened on the show. If we just did this in our side conversations from where we were talking about those other Superman standees. And I figured it was a reference to that.
So I'll be honest. I tried to get you the good one.
Oh,
for whatever reason, that picture is only sold in England. And I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. So I had it in the cart. I clicked checkout. Shipping from England was going to be an extra $60. I was just like, I love you, man, but I am not about to drop $150 on a Superman cardboard standee. I don't know if you have space for.
Yeah, please. That would have haunted me for the rest of my days if I'd known you had done that. I would have felt so bad. But not that I don't still want to try to figure out how to get that one. And that's funny you'd say that, because I felt like I remembered that website looked like it had a very UK-ness about it.
And it's fun. I found two different UK cardboard standee websites, and they're both the only places online that have the classic hands on the hip Superman.
Yeah, the big Superman.
I don't know if it's like Warner Brothers UK had to approve like images or something. I don't know.
Well, but yes, thank you so much, man. That was very cool. And I still have stuff for you that I just, but also, I mean, like I've got Christmas stuff that I think I've still got Christmas stuff from last year that I still need to mail to my mom. So yeah, I'm
it's
not
a hard
great at
time of
mailing
year.
things. And I mean, I have both stuff from Christmas this year, or I'm sorry, last year, 2025 Christmas, and Christmas 2024 that I need. And I've seen my mom in between those two times, but I didn't bring it with me those times because I forgot. Anyway, look, I'm not a responsible shipper.
Yeah,
but
every time I sell stuff on eBay, I'm like, oh god, I just gave myself like the worst task now.
Yeah, because it involves both getting a thing ready, making sure it's all right, getting it to a place, paying something.
I sold all of my X-Men omnibuses on
you
eBay.
told me about that. Are those like out of print?
Yeah, they're out of print, and like it was very stressful because like these are big heavy books, and like comics people tend to be very persnickety,
particular
about, like,
yeah.
I like dinged whatevers, and I'm just like, these have sold for a lot of like one guy bought 3 of them.
Oh,
and
boy.
They wouldn't let me ship them in 3 different boxes. Like eBay was like, here's one packing slip. And I was like, all right. So now I have what ended up being a $600 box of 3 giant omnibuses. And I'm just like, sweating. I'm getting them to the post office. They went out thank God they landed at people's houses like the day the snowstorm struck.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all good now. I got paid. Nobody's complaining. So I got dinged once for destroying some of the Hickman Ultimate Spider-Mans in the mail because I had sold those on eBay, and I was like, I don't really want to read these, and people seem to want them. And I sold them, and they got completely crunched because I didn't do a great job packing them.
Yeah,
but
that's why I've never sold singles.
I gotta say, and Gemini mailers are fucking, they're the top notch. They worked on the omnibuses, they work on single issues, they're great. Right. They're
interesting.
You put them in there, if they feel very protected, you put that into a box. So
you're good to go.
You're good to go.
All right.
I'll
keep that in mind.
I used that to pay off my last student loan, so
wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Who says those comics are not paying off?
Yeah.
And now, all this time and money spent on comics over the course of your life.
And now how will I ever possibly read the Claremont X-Men comics? Something you surely can't find anywhere else.
It is funny though, man, like, because there'll be stuff where things where I go like that seem like it would be very available, and then sometimes you start poking around for something and you're like, oh, I'm speaking of, we talked about that. There's like random issues of Superman within periods of comics that they have done everything around them, but there will just be like missing ones out of like either on formerly Comixology. I won't even dignify what they've done to it. Man, I was trying to read we'll get into it. The thing that we're talking about today is the death of Superman. If you haven't noticed from the title or the images online or whatever we post, or we're talking about the death of Superman, but trying to read that on the edition. I mean, because I have it a million different ways, and we'll talk about that too, probably. But the trying to read that on the Kindle, from how like just I feel like I talk about this every time it comes up, but it's just so infuriating, like what a wonderful reading experience the Comixology app was, and what a huge, horrible, feels intentionally so terrible experience comparatively the Kindle is to trying to read comics on. Is that your go-to tablet for comics digitally? No, not on the Kindle. It's on my iPad, but it's like through the Kindle app because everything gets like transferred over to got just absorbed into Kindle. And it's just like, oh, it's so much worse. Everything like just does not work the way you would like it to, or the way that it used to in Comixology. And I know that it's like the time frame for like that they were not legally allowed. The people that like the guys that created Comixology, there was like, after they sold it to Amazon, there was like a decade or something, you know, however many years, 5-10 years, whatever it was, of like that they weren't allowed to try to make a competing service.
Yeah.
And that time has finally elapsed, and like they've got a new thing. I can't even remember what it's called. And there's like several things that are similar out there. And trying to read this on that, because I didn't want to bring the huge omnibus to work with me.
Yeah.
To like, you know, when I'd just be reading it, or even just taking it around the house. I was like, if I'm reading this omnibus, I have to be like sitting at the table, like, you know, everything is, but it's like, I go, maybe I just want to go in the other room and lay down and read this or something. Or it's like, just walk around with it and read it, get some steps in. And, but trying to read it on that was like just such a battle over the course of days, like just of it constantly like doing weird stuff, or like not wanting to turn the page, or just like fritzing out. And I'm just going like, Comixology sure was a nice thing.
Oh, boy.
But the problem is I'm going like, I don't know if I want to try to go to one of these other things, because I've already got so much money and just such a collection of issues and trades and everything all sunk into the, you know, that ecology, what's the word ecosystem, whatever the word I'm looking for is. So I don't know, but it made me like, I literally was like, I'll buy this on something else right now. I don't care. This is making me so mad. And then like I started looking at some different ones, and I was like, which one's the one that's actually the Comixology guy? All right, I give up. I'll go back to, and then I started like reading it like physical again, and then I went back to Kindle. Anyway, why was I talking about any of this?
I don't know, but I loved hearing it.
We were talking about something else that got into that situation. Talking about stuff that's just missing, not on Comixology or not on Kindle. Not that like finding single issues on Kindle is ever easy, but it's like, it's also like not on DC Universe Infinite. And I'm like, these are issues. We talked about this. We're like, these are issues we know that they have scanned and, you know, upgraded, because they put their issues that are in new collections that are coming out.
Yeah.
Or have already come out. So it's like, we know you have the files. Why is this one issue missing?
Yeah.
If anybody from DC is listening to this, tell me why there's some Triangle era Superman issues that I can't just find on your digital services.
Yeah. I had like a Word doc, and I was like going online and pirating like just the issues that were, because it was like, I think it was like Action Comics was missing. So it was like every fourth comic I had to like switch from reading on my iPad to reading on my computer. And I was just like, this is nuts. Well, Chris, how are you? How are the holidays? How's the new year?
Great. I want to say something. The thing you were talking about with that game, you know, building the Game Boy and watching Peacemaker. I just speaking of holiday fun times. So for Christmas, all three of us at the house, everybody got a action figure model kit from this company called Blockies that has just sprung up here in the last year or two or something. I don't know, but they make all this stuff that is like, you don't need any tools, you don't need anything, and it's like it's pull apart, snap together, push together, whatever models. But they are like, they don't make like little models, they make like action figures, and they have like a bunch of different lines or sort of like, ranges of like, this one's really easy to put, very minimal work to put this one together.
Yeah.
The other one is like insanely a lot of stuff, but it's super detailed and all this stuff. And it's like, but you make an action figure instead of a little model. And it's like an action figure that is so incredibly posable, because it's just, and it's like, you're going, wow. And I put this thing together, and it's such a, anyway, I got Superman and Krypto.
That's awesome.
But the version that I got is like, we found it at a comic shop that had like imported it. I was like, I don't know if it's actually going to be sold in America. Like they're currently, they've got a bunch of licenses. They've got like Transformers and Marvel, and they've got DC stuff that they're doing. And the first one they've done was this Superman and Krypto from the movie. And it's so far, because it's, I mean, not to get off onto a whole other thing, but so far, in my opinion, it is the best figure of the David Cornsweet Superman that's come out yet.
This
as
I'm
far
on
as,
their
like-
website. This is cool.
It's very cool. And I got that one, and it was just one. It's amazing. I love just looking at it. But it was also so much fun to like get to put together. But because mine was like an import, because it's something to do with like there may be like a licensing thing where they're not going to be selling it directly in America, but this comic shop and like imported one. And so the instructions for how to put it all together were there was no English to be found. So I was just really having to do it all by the pictures. But thankfully it was still very easy. But M got one of we got the kid one of this character that they like, which was came with, is like one of, I don't remember what the line name is, but it's the one where it's like pretty easy to put together, but comes with like a ton of cool stuff to go with it, like accessories and you know, things for the character. And then Vanessa got one that was technically for the kid, but like we knew it, so it's like the kids was the easiest. Mine was like medium difficulty. And then unfortunately the one that Vanessa got stuck putting together was insane level difficulty of one of the Evas from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh yeah.
And it's incredible. It's like, so, you know, it's like a whole big thing and comes with all this stuff. It comes with like all these like little buildings for it to be standing in the middle of, and like all this stuff. And it is absurdly articulated and detailed and all this stuff. But like Vanessa literally was like, I'm gonna have to buy some kind of like magnifying glasses just to work on this thing.
Yeah. These are so fucking cool. Sorry, I'm looking at this Superman Krypto right now.
Isn't it awesome?
I love that Krypto, man.
Yeah. I'll send you the pictures because of course I took a bunch of pictures of us putting them all together and everything. And then we made like we put them in a bunch of other little, because the one that M got came with like a bunch of musical instruments. So then we were getting other action figures from the house to also be filling out all this band of instruments, including also then like, oh well, we can get Bill and Ted in here because they've already got guitars.
Yeah.
And so and then I made like a little video of the band playing, complete with like what kind of music I bet they sounded like. I'll send it to you.
That's awesome.
But so it made me think of that. It was also like a Christmas thing, and while we were snowed in, we were like, okay, this is a good opportunity for us to all we'll sit down together and we'll all put these together.
That's so fun.
It was great. It was really great. Christmas is great. It's stressful, of course, but but still, you know, it was great. I watched Superman. That was one of my Christmas presents, either to myself or I was like, hey, this can be a Christmas present to me, is that I was like, Peggy, we're going to watch after dinner and everything. And after we've opened presents, we're going to watch Superman because she still hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And oh, it was wonderful.
That's
and she
awesome.
was, but I was like, she would find like the worst time to go like, he just doesn't look like Superman to me. And I was like, what do you mean? He couldn't look more like Superman. And she's like, he doesn't look like Christopher Reeve. And I was like, that does not mean that's not what Superman looks like. I get it, but
put her in a room with my mom, who doesn't think that Christopher Reeve looks like Superman.
Let him fight it out. Oh, I'd love to. I would be absolutely delighted to to watch them argue about, even though they wouldn't argue about it. They wouldn't. I'm sure they wouldn't care to talk about it. We were like, no, you guys have to argue about this. But yeah, no, man, that was great. And speaking of Superman and comics and the things that we were, so after, you know, I told you last night we took in the what do you call it, a kind of screening where they're showing an old movie,
a revival.
Yes, and of Dumb and Dumber, which there were a lot more kids in the audience than I expected, including the one that we were bringing.
Yeah.
But I was right around your age when I saw this movie when it came out. So I was like, do you want to go see this? The kid's just like, yeah, sure. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's do it. And we went and saw it, and it was like, really interesting to hear how that movie, you know, I was definitely seeing it through different eyes than I had seen it because it had been so long since I'd seen it. But hearing kids just like there was one kid that was losing their mind laughing at this movie. And I was just like, this kid has never been confronted with this particular brand of, you know, is delighted by this particular brand of 90s Two Dumb Buddies comedy.
And like, think about like, it's almost certain none of those kids have seen a comedy in theaters before.
Well, unless you count like Minions or
but I
stuff
don't.
like that. Well, but they probably do.
Yeah, but like, you know,
it was funny. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, just because they don't put comedies in theaters anymore. I mean, are they even making comedies? Hardly. Like,
did you see Naked Gun?
No, it was gone. It was like, it seemed like it was gone so fast. I didn't even get a chance to. It was also, I think, like when it came out though, there was like, it was, I don't remember what was going on, but I was like, I want to get to the theater to see this, and it didn't happen. There's been a lot of stuff in the last couple months where I was going, I really want to get to the theater and see this, and it's like, well, you didn't.
Have you seen Send Help yet?
No, man, and you're the second person that's asked me that today.
Oh man,
I actually went and I was looking at, I looked at your review of it. I was looking at other friends' reviews of it on Letterboxd today because you're literally earlier today. Somebody asked me if I had seen it yet, and but also it's like, you know, it would have been a great time if we'd been able to move the cars, to be able to, like, the kid's been out of school for like 2 weeks. And schools still have not opened back up here.
Oh,
we're hoping
God.
Monday. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's how unprepared things are here.
Yeah.
Even though like the main roads are okay, it's like the problem is the buses can't get down all these like side streets that are still messed up, and it's not fair to those kids.
Yeah.
Yada yada.
Our neighborhood was filled with bobcats today, not
what?
Not the animals.
Oh. Okay.
the little guys.
Yes.
With the
Okay.
little
I got
scoopers.
you. I got you. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess they finally made it to our Baltimore is doing just like neighborhood by neighborhood. We're bringing in the bobcats. They're lifting all the stuff the plows can't get to, and then they put it. They have a giant like melter that they travel around with, and so they find and they scoop and they just drop it into the big melter.
Oh,
and
I would love to watch how that works.
I was driving my mom and daughter to music class today, and there was just like 9 bobcats on every side street, just like I was like, this is so cool. I love seeing this happen.
We've got like one bobcat for the whole city.
Yeah,
I think, and it leaves, and there's no melter, and it's they just dump it on the, like, in the parking lot or right near the side of the road.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Is it still like below freezing down there?
No, it's like 60 degrees here, but there's still mountains of ice all over the place. I could take the laptop and walk out so you could see via the camera, just walk outside and you can see these like mountains of where ice just got pushed up, you know, piled up, and now it's being shielded because of the density.
Yeah.
And just not melting. It's like, you know, t-shirt weather here today, even though like 2 days ago it was like 11 degrees.
Yeah.
So you know, of course everybody's feeling not great. I messed up my car, messed up my shoulder, doing a shoulder and my neck, a digging and trying to get the car. We both on like the last day that it was going to be like really hazardous, kind of trying to walk around. We were like, it's going to be warm tomorrow. This is the last night that'll be like quite this hazardous. Yeah. And both of us, independently of each other at different times of the day, then that was the day where we slipped and fell. Mine was dog related, and it's so embarrassing because it's not even like the bigger dog. Like both of the dogs are not that big. Dipper's like 25 pounds. Frodo's like 7 or 8 pounds. And like, I just was taking a step at the wrong time when he decided to like just shoot off running, and man, my feet just went up like a cartoon character. I mean, and landed also like a cartoon character, like just flat on my butt.
Yeah.
Which was
that's the worst. That tailbone land.
Yeah. But I was like, I couldn't even, like, it felt so, the logistics of how it happened all felt so silly to me. I was like more amused than injured.
Well, that's good.
And it's like I couldn't even be mad about it because it's like it's impossible to be mad at Frodo because he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, that but anyway, so we went to Dumb and Dumber. And coming home, we're kind of talking about movies and stuff like that. And we get back to the house, and it did not seem really like it was anything to do with our conversation. But then it's at some point, then the kid's like, okay, so what I need you to do is, and I think you're going to like this. It's like, I cannot wait to hear where this is going. And they're like, what I'm going to need you to do is, I need you to educate me on like what the good comics are. And I was like, what?
Oh.
And I was like, what do you mean? Go on. And the kid's like, it's like, yeah, I need you to get me cultured on this stuff. So I know what's good and what's not. And just, I really want to get more into comics and like know sort of like what, I know what it was, is because I said I had seen one of their friends leaving the comic shop earlier that day. And, but yeah, saying that, they want to like learn what the good comics are and like start getting more into that to like know what's good and like what stuff they would like. And, I was just like, oh my God, it's like, you have no idea how much of my life has been preparing for this moment.
Yeah.
And like, but, then, also like, I'm both so just like elated and excited to take upon this task. And at the same time,
you're over.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I was going like,
aren't you?
Yes. I was like, you have no idea the mountain of pressure I have just, you have just given me to put on myself, because I'm going to be trying so hard to like do the, find like the perfect, I can't mess this up. I've got to do it exactly right. I've got to get it perfect so that it can, so they, they are able to get into it, so that they do enjoy it and find the stuff that they like, and like get them, get enough stuff under. Now, this kid has also like read like tons, of manga and, has read regular comics also, but just never been super sometimes interested in a character or characters or stuff, but just not in that kind of I want to read comics way. So it's a big, exciting, daunting challenge that I've been thinking about all day.
Here's an identity crisis and another butter. Go nuts.
Go nuts, kid. And what's funny was, speaking of how this is germane to this, is that of course, then like Vanessa immediately, like at seeing, watching this take place, goes off to the other room to bring back the DC Compact comics of All-Star Superman, and was just like, here you go. I know this is definitely going to be on the list. And I was like, oh my God, yes. And then I started and was like, okay, so why this one? What's the deal with this? And I was like, I started like trying to explain. I was like, okay, all right. Okay. So here's the deal. And like, this is, of course, it's like, this kid is like, knows me well enough to like go, like to start being tickled by like, he's getting ready to start talking for a long time. He's getting ready to start like really going off about a thing. But then I was going, you know what? I was like, this is so good. And I was like, but it's not the kind of thing you'd necessarily like go for like, here, just start with this. Yeah. You could, but I was like, it's like when somebody, this is like a real like sort of comic recommendation pet peeve of mine, is like when somebody, especially like someone who's into other stuff and who, whatever, like to try, when people go like, oh, well, the first thing you got to get is Watchmen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Because it's like, yes, Watchmen is great, but it's like part of what makes Watchmen great is, I'm sure anybody listening to this already knows this, so I apologize. You're already probably way ahead of what I'm about to say, or I've had this exact conversation with people. But it's like, to me, when you start people off with the things that are like, this is the best thing ever, this is the best thing I've ever read, this is my absolute favorite thing of all time. If it is really that, let's say that, that they do like it so much, or they do, they think it blows their mind or whatever, then it's like, okay, the next bunch of things I give you, you're gonna be like, oh, all these other comics suck.
Yeah. And like,
it's like,
you think Watchmen just fell out of a coconut tree? It exists in the context in which it lives and came
That's
before
exactly
it.
what I was saying. And I explained that last night because Vanessa went and got Watchmen too.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you think? You think they're ready for this? And I was like, no, not at all. Because I was like, part of what made it so groundbreaking, I was like, the story is great. It's, so well done. The art is incredible. The writing's incredible. It's such good world building, yada, 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 yada. All this stuff is great. But it's like, part of what made it so potent when it came out was that it was like subverting things, and it was like twisting your expectations of things, and it's like commenting on all this stuff that it's like, if you don't have the sort of like the baseline understanding of like what that stuff was like, it kind of robs it of some of its some of its power, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like,
have I ever told you about like my library experience reading comics as a kid?
No.
So my public library, this was like, because this is like the era where I feel like comics were like getting into libraries. Like now there's a dedicated graphic novel section. It's organized, my public library has an adult one, a teen one, a kid one. It's all, But when I was a kid going to the library, I feel like they had just been like, we should buy some comics. And so there was a unorganized table halfway between the kid and teen section where they
where comics belong,
where they would just throw trade paperbacks on top of it.
Incredible.
No organization, but the thing was, it was like Watchmen was there, Strangers with Paradise was there, Bone was right next to those two things.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm 11, and I'm like, I want to read every comic I can. So that's how I just read Watchmen for the first time. Was like 11. I'm like, this is fucking great. I love it. Because I'm just like diving into like every you just need to make a long box of just like the most random comics you own.
And go, hey, just pull stuff out of this. Whenever you're ready for one, come pick something out of here. Yeah.
The Punisher Maternity War. Where I was thinking, I went and saw Hard Boiled at the local AMC.
Oh, you lucky duck, man. There was nowhere playing it within like 200 miles of here.
I was supposed to see it last Wednesday, but then the snow, my car was still snowed in. But then they were like, we're going to extend it because we know everybody got snowed in. I had never seen the whole thing before. And I was like, wow, the end of this movie is just maternity war with the Punisher. A comic I got at Baltimore Comic-Con when I was like 12.
Yeah, it's like it does make me wonder, and it's funny, we were talking about this on a sort of like a recent episode. We were talking about like how some of the stuff that I was reading at like early formative years was like, I just happened to be in the right time, right place for some stuff that is like, oh, that's still great. Or it's like, it still has like holds so much, resonance for me. But then that it's also, there's like, I was also at the time when there was like so much garbage.
Yeah.
When I was reading some of this stuff where it's like, oh, I still read so much absolute crap then too. But, and it was making me think though, in like the context of thinking about what to do for them, is like going, I don't know, man. Do you just put some of the stuff that's like, yeah, that cover's cool, but like that might draw you in, but or maybe the art, but it like put stuff where it's like, hey, here's an example of where the art's incredible and the story is terrible. The writing's awful, or vice versa, to like kind of get an idea. And I was talking about a little bit about this last night, like with Vanessa, and she was going like, so you're basically like putting together like an intro to comics, like a college level intro to comics course. And I was like, well, now you've given me a whole different thing to think about. Cause I was like, I would definitely do like to a general group of people, I would do very different from like where I'm trying to tailor specifically to the kid, where I'm like, I know some of the stuff you like, I know some of the stuff you don't like, I know, but it's like, you also can't ever tell like necessarily how something's gonna hit someone. I mean, like I famously used to hate Mike Mignola when I was, when I thought Rob Liefeld was the best artist in the world, so it's like, sometimes it takes time you need to see somebody's stuff and have it in the back of your head. And then when you come back to it, you're like, oh, that's right. This is quite good.
Yeah. Honestly, the thing that keeps me like having single issues all over the house is like the idea that one day my daughter will just, I'm like, this way, I don't want her to have to come to me and add like, oh, can you guide me? I'm like, you were sort of just pull anything up, explore. It's a library. I don't give a shit, just...
Oh man. But so, yeah, now I'm really, I've in between all the other stuff that has been going on today, I've been like had that program running in the back of my head trying to like compile a list of
do you have like a Google Doc?
Maybe this. No, I need to start. I mean, I was literally just like keeping it in my head, but I should be writing it down.
You know what I just read for the first time? New, very good, very self-contained. Superman smashes the Klan.
Oh my God. Yes. That's
so
great.
Good, man.
I can't believe you're just now. When was this?
This was at some
you
point
told me.
between...
That's right. You told me the other day, like that you said you had read like a handful of Superman
so
things.
I started subscribing to DC Infinite again for this podcast, and then I'm like, well, now that I've got this, I might as well.
I'm already here.
Dive into all of the stuff that I've just like missed out on. Like, I think with that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna wait till it's collected, and then it got collected, and then I just never got around to it. And I was like, let's read it digitally.
It's so good.
It's so good. I caught up on the last 2-3 years of Action Comics.
Mm-hmm.
All the Mark Waid's whole run on that. It's really fun, really good.
Yeah.
Superman Unlimited by Dan Slott.
Oh yeah, I'm
so
way behind
good.
on that. I'm like I got the first 2 or 3 issues and was like, okay, I'm having fun with this, but I don't know why I just fell off of it.
Read it as a chunk. I think it plays a little better, but like
okay.
Issue 7, I think, has an appearance from the Mole Men from Superman. This is the
oh, fantastic!
Or is it Adam Men? What are they called from that serial?
Superman.
I think it is Mole Men.
Yeah, I think it is. And then there's another one that's like
Superman versus the Atom Man is like a radio show.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, they got the little bald heads. They got
yay!
It's
they've done. I feel like there's been a couple times throughout in the last like 10, 20 years where someone has brought them in as like a little, oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I don't love Superman having a new power. I don't love when I feel like they feel like that every.
But they used to do that. I feel it's weird because I feel that exact same way. But then every time I read some old Silver Age issue where they're like, check it out, this week he's got rainbow fingers.
Yeah, but like they don't sell it as like Superman's rainbow fingers are going to be an integral part of Superman's power set moving forward.
It's so like the way that it's sort of like the way both like the characters and the like the approach of just like what they sort of felt like. It seems like the goal of a comic book is very different now than in the Silver Age, and both for good and ill. In that, like,
remember Superman's solar flare he had for a hot minute there in the New 52 era?
Jeff Johns, John Romita Jr. With somebody who else was talking about this? Was that you talking about this? It was like who's the bad guy, or not the bad guy, the other guy that was sort of like Superman's pseudo brother Odysseus or something.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I saw somebody.
It wasn't
I was
me
like,
talking about that.
Okay, I saw it seemed most likely to have been you, as it was a kind of take where I would go, well, that's an interesting. I wanted to hear more about this.
Oh man,
somebody
I want to hear more
I
about this now.
Yeah, I'll have to find it. But yeah, the oh shoot, what was it? There was something else, some Superman thing I read recently. But all right, look. We got to get to it.
All right.
We beat around the bush long enough. We gotta start speaking of comics, and comics that really have, you can tell how different things were in the comic world. And like, but this is also, there's an argument to be made that while this was both like the biggest, most impactful, most media important, outside of the comics world, got the most news attention, like all of that stuff. It's also, there's a lot of people that like kind of point to this as like, oh, this is also was like hugely hurt the comics industry, even though it was like it's been both good and bad for the comics industry.
To me, I feel like it is, maybe people are going to cringe when I say this, I think it is the peak of superhero storytelling, like a big event superhero storytelling moments. Death of Superman. And when I say peak, I mean because like it did usher in a lot of stuff that made things work, but like
things were different. It changed.
But like I think this story is superhero soap opera comics firing on all cylinders. That you know, we have the 4 interlocked books. We've got the super writing team who's like, people have tried to do this since and have not been able to do it. I think, we're talking about Death of Superman. Did we say that? We're talking about Death of Superman. Okay. It's just like, I cannot think of a like bigger, better story. You know, like a story that is this large.
Yeah.
Like if you say, Jacob, what is the best like event comic? And like, this isn't technically an event because it's not like it's not like a separate miniseries or whatever. But like to me, this is like the event comic. This is the comic event. Superman died.
Okay, how about this? I would say I would agree with that if you include. I mean, I could probably go with you for just it, but I think what really makes this a truly like landmark, memorable thing outside of just the spectacle of, hey, look, we really killed Superman. I think it's the combination of the whole.
Oh yes, definitely. You have to have Reign and return.
You have to have the funeral. You have to have him actually be gone for a while and then the return. But it's like the next closest thing I think to something like this that like really did seem like it had some kind of a, people were, it made a difference in that people were interested or kind of curious, wanted to see what the deal was like then when Marvel, years later did the Death of Captain America, where they kind of tried to do the same. Basically, it's the same thing where they're like, somebody's going to replace him. He's kind of different. It's more whatever, yada, yada. I'm speeding through what I would normally say. I could talk about that all for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But, and then somehow he's going to come back through some kind of convoluted means and like try to and make things better at the end. I had a very different experience reading this time than I think any previous time I've read it. And what's interesting is my buddy Matt, who people who've been listening to me podcast prior to this show will have heard me doing comic related podcast stuff with him. And also, I mean, we've mentioned him on the show before. I think he's had questions in. He came by the other day and we were talking about this because I was going, man, I just got done rereading this. And I was like, when was the last time you read this? And he was like, oh, it's been a while, whatever. And I was like, what do you remember about it? And we started talking about that. And it's funny because there are parts of this that we were both talking about where it's like, and we would be bringing things up to each other. Now I had just read it, but he was doing the same thing I was, where it was like, mention a thing and he's like, oh, and he's like literally can like act out the pose that's happening in the panel.
Yes.
Where there's like so many moments throughout the course of this story that are just so indelibly burned into my brain.
As the exact word I wanted to use.
Yes. Yeah. Like, just where it's like, I can see it when like clear as day, the exact way that it happens, the number of like, not just the number of panels. Because of course everybody talks about the thing about how it's like as the issues get, which is such an incredible
fucking cool. If you don't know what we're saying before he trailed off, like 4 issues before he dies, every page has 4 panels. 3 issues before he dies, every page has 3. 2, 1, 2. Man, that was a tough job, I think. Like
but John Bogdanove is, of course, up to the task.
They knew who to give each of those tasks. Because
now, do you know this?
Oh no,
Go ahead.
I was just like, I love that. Like, if you don't know that's happening, and I don't know if like
Mike Carlin says that nobody noticed it at the time. People didn't pick up on it at the time.
But
it after the fact, basically after the death of Superman happened, then people started to realize it. Have you ever watched the documentary? Oh, this also goes back to a thing we talked about last year, which was the disc rot on the Superman DVDs.
Yeah.
Because I tried to watch the documentary that comes about the death of Superman, like on the comic side, that comes as one of the special features on the Superman Doomsday animated movie, which was the first one from the DC animated universe. And I put that disc in and it's loading up and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is exciting. And then everything I'd try to go to play, it would do that thing where it's like, can't read the disc. And I was like, oh no, this is one of those. And I'm like, well, okay, now I've got an excuse to get the Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah.
But I found that documentary, which I had watched it several times before, but I found it. It's eventually Warner Brothers put it on, or DC put it on YouTube.
Oh,
so you can watch the whole thing on there. Have you ever seen that?
No. So I was honestly just looking it up on Vudu to see if I'm like, should I buy Superman Doomsday so I can watch this documentary?
Well, I don't think it's on the special features on there, on the digital. Because
I
think I actually did that same thing. I think I've got Doomsday on digital. I either already have it and checked to see if it was like a special feature, which I don't think back then they were putting special features, or I was like, if I don't already have it, I'll buy it if it's got it on there, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I found it on YouTube. I can send it to you. And we should definitely put it in the show notes if you're interested in learning more about the stories that they tell that I'm probably going to get mostly right. And I kind of want to go give the context of what led to the death of Superman. I mean, we could just go through the story, but if you're listening to this, you're probably already familiar with exactly what happens. But yeah, in that, Mike Carlin says that people didn't notice it until. But do you know the story of why that last issue, how they came up with that idea to have the panel number decreasing as you start to feel more like you're getting closer and closer to the action, and that the action is getting bigger and it's getting more intense and more visceral? Do you know the story about how, because they tell it in this documentary?
My guess would be that they came up with the idea of all splash pages and then worked backwards from there. But tell me what the actual story is.
Before they had even talked about doing the death of Superman, Dan Jurgens, when they would come to do their and so and this will get into why. So, and oh boy, I'm all over the place. I'm so excited to talk about this.
It's so good.
Basically, as we've talked about previously, I believe, Lois and Clark coming out is why the death of Superman happened.
Yeah. Because
in the year prior to the death of Superman.
Because it was so good, they knew they couldn't compete.
The year before the death of Superman, all of their stuff, because they, like the Superman team, to be able to have this thing work where it's like every week a new issue of Superman comes out across 4, then 5 titles for the skip weeks.
God, I wish I was buying comics back then.
Oh boy. And I've got a lot to say about not a lot, but I have big feelings about what it was like buying this week to week as a little kid. But so they'd do these things to make sure to keep the trains running. You've got to plan this stuff out. You can't just be flying by the seat of your pants for it. And so they would have these things where, like, once a year they'd get together and basically plot out, here's all the Superman writers and the art teams and like even, like letterers and colorists, like they bring everybody in and they'd stay at this hotel for like a week or a weekend or whatever it was. And they would just write it all. They'd figure it all out. And they would go, this issue to here, this is sort of what our timeline is. This is where the big things we want to hit. And we'll kind of figure out where to fit all this stuff. And so it's like very cooperative, very collaborative in a way that I think is often great for comics.
Yeah.
As much as it's nice to have, like people can do incredible things when they're just very like auteur, where it's like a one man show, one woman show. Mm-hmm. But it's also, you get something good from the collaborative nature of comics sometimes that wouldn't be there just trying to do it by yourself. Anyway, they had all been leading up to that year. All of the stuff they had done the year past, and what they were planning on was that they wanted to do Superman and Lois finally get married.
Yeah.
And then the Lois and Clark show is going to be coming out. And word gets back that that's what they're kind of planning or whatever. And corporate is like, hey, we love the idea of them getting married, but the people on the TV show don't want them to get married in the comics before they can get to it, because they're planning on having, if the show's a success, if it works out down the road, they're already planning on, they want to have them get married. Because that, I mean, they're thinking, they're intelligently thinking that that's the kind of stunt that makes for good TV ratings.
And that's very similar to what Spider-Man did, where he got married in the comic strip and the comic book and the baseball stadium all at the same time.
Yeah. Well, and so that was the thing. They were like, we would love for them to get married, but we just don't want you to do it before. And we don't want to miss out on this chance to have some corporate synergy and have them get married in the comics and on the show at the same time. So suddenly a year's worth of plans while they're at the, at this retreat in the middle of it, they have to just go, all right, throw all this out. We got to, or not throw it out, but we got to save this for later. This idea. And then, so now everybody's like a little grumpy, like all of this hard work, and supposedly they all kind of tell the same recollection of things, is that like Jerry Ordway, who is incredible, he's a great writer, great artist, does not get nearly enough credit or kudos as in the world of comics. But an interesting thing in the Death and Return of Superman omnibus afterward, written by Dan Jurgens, he mentions almost everyone involved in that process except Jerry Ordway. And I've like, it has been bugging me for now like a week, trying to imagine why. Just curious. Just could be a Before could be a completely Mark Waid, if you know the answer.
Keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself. Yeah. But it's just an interesting. Anyway, Jerry Ordway would supposedly always at these conferences, he would, whenever they would kind of get stuck for something and they didn't know what to do, just as a joke, in years prior, he would just go, "Why don't we just kill him?" And everybody go, "Ha ha ha." Okay, and that would kind of take attention out of they're getting frustrated at not knowing what to do next. But then this time he did it, and they were like, maybe it's because we were a little mad, maybe people were grumpy. But then this time they're like, yeah, what if we do kill him? And like literally, then it started spinning out of that. But prior to that even happening, Dan Jurgens had been coming to the, saying he wanted to do an all splash page issue. Yeah. He was like, I just want to do a big, like really big, like beat 'em up splash page, all splash issue. Cause there's been a few of those in I'm sure there's been a number
Simonson,
of them.
Thor.
Yeah. But at that point so there's a precedent for that. And he was like, he was just really wanting to do that. And then it was like, in the course of then doing the Death of Superman stuff, they came up with the idea. He's like, okay, Dan, you want to do this? What if we, they came up then with like, oh, what if we do that? Where it's like, feels like it's getting more intense and more focused in, the reader is getting closer to the action as it seems to be getting more and more dangerous and violent, and the stakes seem to be raising.
Yeah.
But so it's like, it is one of those things where it's like, well, this wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Lois and Clark. So you got to give it to him for that, because it did all it worked out as a great thing for the Superman comics.
And it didn't work out so hot for Lois and Clark, because then they had to postpone their wedding because Superman was dead in the comics. And so that's when you end up with like Lois is the frog clone and all the like fake wedding stuff, and people got pissed off.
Like you do. I mean, like but that
all
feels
think that
like
stuff plays fine.
Yeah, that works for that, especially now. Like looking back on it, I feel like it adds to the charm of that show.
I knew people hated it going in, and then I watched it and I was like, I love it. I got a soft spot for the show. What can I say?
It's well, I started to say it's hard not to, but I was like, well, it's not so hard not to. But this is also the time that it's like, even though I sort of knew it ahead of time, and they talk about this in that documentary, the idea that it's like this story is not just about how to, it's not just about like, oh, we're going to do something crazy where Superman dies. There's more to the story in the layer of like, this whole thing is a commentary on how the comics reading populace at the time were sort of like viewed Superman. And I had kind of forgotten that. I mean, I sort of, it's in there. It's in the mix of things I know in my brain when I'm thinking about the death of Superman. But reading it this time and like really paying attention to that and going like, well, and of course, when I was a kid reading it, I was not thinking about that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how there was like, not only are all these things where I was going like, oh yeah, this is where this fits into this. And like, this is X, Y, or Z in the story. And it's like, oh, I remember all this other stuff so vividly, but this is, I completely forgot that this, like, Matt was telling me, he was going like, who all was there in the Justice League? And like, then he named a bunch of the people. And then when I told him the two people he was forgetting, which were
I was just about
Maxima,
to ask, was it Bloodwind?
It was Maxima and Bloodwind. And he was like, Bloodwind. And he was like, that's right. Bloodwind. He's like, oh, I forgot that guy even existed. Like that kind of a thing.
I love that the comic is like, has a bunch of like Bloodwind specific moments where he's like, dang, I really wanted to know Bloodwind's like telepathic powers.
Yeah.
I don't think I've personally come across Bloodwind anywhere else.
Well, there's a reason for that, obviously. I mean, the reason, right?
No. I mean, is it just that nobody likes Bloodwind?
No, I mean, do you know in that part where Beetle's, before he gets put into a coma, and he's like, oh, now it all makes sense. That's who Bloodwind really is. Like, who Bloodwind really is, right?
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe I shouldn't tell you.
Nah,
maybe I should save the mystery for you.
I'm a Marvel guy and Superman, so
okay. Well,
when it comes to these things, I'm just I'm a little out of the loop.
What's funny is I've got a Let's Be Friends Again thing on the history of Bloodwind that Kurt and I did for Comics Alliance years ago. I could send you to like really hash it out for you, even though I think it was a Shane George thing, which meant it was like this character that we created that was sort of like an amalgamation, or I mean that Kurt really, it's like an amalgamation of people we knew. Who's like a guy from Alabama reading comics, like that was this friend of ours that was like good-natured guy, but he's like, anyway, but it's like him talking about like, so this guy does this and blah, 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 like, anyway, all right. Spoilers, everybody. Skip ahead 15 seconds if you don't want to know who Bloodwind really is. If you don't already know, Bloodwind was secretly Martian Manhunter.
Oh.
Which is why when he gets knocked through that refinery oil thing and caught on fire, why that's so devastating to him. And it's why when Beetle sees him trying to like escape from that is when he sees that's, oh, of course, that's who it is.
Interesting.
But Bloodwind was an actual character prior that it was like that Martian Manhunter was like adopting the guise of. I don't remember exactly why.
Always fucking doing that.
There was some reason for it.
Remember in the Snyder cut of Justice League where he's just Martha Kent for no reason?
Oh, that scene is such a nice scene.
I know,
until that, and it's like, well, this is
what
weird
if we just
now?
dump that down the toilet for no reason? What an odd moment.
Yeah, but it is. You can't. I mean, it's hard to deny that. It's like, well, I'll never be able to forget how what an odd thing that was. So it really makes it stick out in your mind. So good job, I guess, maybe. Anyway, but it was like that. It was so full of those things. Not only that, like where I was going, oh, it's so interesting that so much of this can be so just like branded into my memory. Like I couldn't get it out if I wanted to. And then that there's some parts where I was like, oh, that's right. The whole thing that makes Doomsday go to Metropolis is a professional wrestler on a TV commercial in a Lexmark where it's where he like, because I asked Matt this too. I was like, do you remember why he goes to Metropolis? And he's going, well, I just remember that part where he sees the sign for Metropolis. And he's like, Matt's like quoting like the stuff exactly where it's like where he sees the sign is like Metropolis, like how Doomsday puts it together and just how like creepy and like ominous that felt. And I was like, yeah, but do you know, huh?
Yeah, he can read. It's just
he can sort of read. Because but I was going like, yeah, but do you know why that set him on the course to see that interstate sign saying Metropolis, however far away? It's like, because he saw this commercial for wrestling. And I was like, I can't believe that I would forget a wrestling like a pro wrestling thing in there, but I had completely forgotten that even existing in the story. So realizing how much commentary, like the writers, and you can tell they're feeling like they're probably feeling like a little underappreciated by the comic world at large, for like, because people, and there's a great line in the thing that I had completely forgotten about, where it's like Ma and Pa Kent are, back in Smallville watching as the battle's getting closer and closer. And by the time it gets to Metropolis, now there's full on 24-hour news coverage of what's going on. There's multiple helicopters in the sky filming it, cool. Transmitting it out. People are watching this all around the world as Superman and this monster are basically beating each other to death. And Ma Kent is getting upset at the idea that like our son's getting hurt, and they're talking about it like it's, entertainment. Yeah. They're just talking about it like it's sports or something. And she's upset about it. And Pa's like, don't be too hard on him. And like all of this, you can also just completely read through the lens of like what an editor might be saying to an artist who's going like, why are people not reading Superman more? We're working so hard on this. We're putting all this, we love this so much. We're putting so much love and care into it. And then Pa's going, don't be too hard on them. You got to remember that it's like, I don't think they're trying to be callous, or it's not that they don't care. It's that they just don't think anything bad can happen to Superman. Yeah. And I was like, well, man, even just saying that right now, it's like, it made me feel like a little emotion, kind of come up in my, like, but it's like, yeah, there's all of that level to it. And like with you see that over the course of it, the different kids, Superman's relationship to different types of kids, like sort of like how these different kids in the story see Superman. Yeah. And both like younger kids and teenagers, and also seeing how like people's minds, because of the story, and this happened in real life too. It's like they predicted how it would work in real life, where it's like people actually witnessing, instead of just going, oh yeah, Superman, whatever, he's kind of corny. But then when you see, like, if you pay attention to what Superman actually is, like if you were actually reading the comics, or if you were, or if you're in that world and then you get saved by Superman and you see what he's willing to do to put himself in harm's way to protect you, or your family or whatever. Yeah. It makes people go, oh, I should have appreciated him more. Yeah. And it's like, I had never gotten that, previously, but I hadn't gotten it on the level I got it this time, but also it was that my other biggest takeaway was, it's like reading this week to week, every issue felt so so full. Yeah. So just like, so very, and I realized part of that was because I would read the issue, I'd get the new comics and then I would read that issue, and then I would immediately like read it again. Yeah. And waiting for that next issue next week, I would probably read it 2 or 3 times. So it's like I really had time for it to think about all the individual stuff that's happening, even though it was also great reading at this time, because there were parts where I was going, oh, I had no idea what that meant when I was a kid. Yeah. Or like I was going, oh, I get what that's talking about now. I completely misread this situation as a kid. Or, like I thought that this or that or whatever. But the, that like feeling of how what a big event it felt like, how epic it felt, reading it like this for the first time, and I don't know how long, and not just kind of like going back to the vision I have of it in my memory, I realized is like how, like almost like how quickly it all happens. There's like so little when you're just reading it all in a row like that, and not having week to week of like poring back over it and thinking about what's going to happen and wondering what's going to happen. Reading it like this is just like, just all of a sudden Doomsday shows up. He's there for one afternoon. Yeah. And it's like Doomsday is only around for a couple hours. We know nothing about him. We find out nothing about him. He shows up, beats the entire Justice League's ass, and then kills Superman
in a month of real world time. Like,
yeah, but in the story time, it's like 30 minutes or or a couple hours, whatever. Like it goes by so fast, and you're just like, wait, what? No, this like this, and I try to think about like what if the death of Superman had never happened, if comics were still basically the same, but that had never happened, and they tried to do this exact same story now. I was trying to like just imagine sort of like just a mental challenge for myself. Like, what would that look like in today's comic world? And like, what a big, like how it, I mean, it would last for months at least.
Yep.
It would be so over bloated and have so much stuff. And there would be so much stuff going on in each of the issues that is like, doesn't have anything to do necessarily direct. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff where you're seeing some side characters and stuff, but there's like, really, this happens so fast. You don't have time for a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just boom, boom, boom. Like he
You'd have
shows
like
up.
10 spin-off miniseries about like Jimmy Olsen's reporting, or
there'd just be a bunch of, and I'm not saying that it's bad that they would, I mean, maybe I'm saying a little bit that it's bad that there would be so much extra stuff, but it's just thinking about how differently they would approach. They would never do it this way.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, it's just in the Superman books. You don't know what's coming, even though you don't, I mean, I remember thinking like, he's not really going to die though. Right. Like when this came out, and oh Lord, I remember being like in my room on my bed, reading that, like getting home with that and being like so scared to open it and read it.
Yeah.
And then like I read it, and then, I was like crying. I'm like 11 years old or something, 12 years old, something. And like just crying at the end of it, and then like putting it down and like sitting in my room just quietly for a little bit, and then like reading it again. And then it's like making me cry again. And then like going, I can't remember. It's like, I think that Peggy like came by my room and saw me in there just upset. Cause she knew, I mean, obviously she had taken me to the comic store.
Yeah.
She knew what was going on. And she was like, well, what's going on? And she was like, and I'm just like, he really killed him. He died, and I was just like so upset, and I just remember like going to bed that night and like staring at the ceiling and just going like, I don't know what to think. I don't know how to handle this.
Now, were you reading like week to week before this? Like,
No,
you picked it up kind of knowing that this was like the big event?
Well, I started like, I mean, I got all of the issues, that you find in the Death of Superman trade.
Yeah.
I got all of those individually. Like I knew it was coming.
Right.
Like
I feel like this story doesn't work if you don't know it's coming. Like that was a thought I had reading this.
Or
like,
does it work like a million times better? Because you're thinking at the end, well, eventually Superman's going to figure out how to beat this guy. And then, oh my God, they're dead.
I mean, I think there's a little bit of shock factor that would be fun, but like, I don't think the mechanics of how this story is told, like, say you knew nothing about Wizard Magazine or wherever this is being reported, this hadn't broken containment. And think,
Wizard already had me hyped on knowing that it's like, this is a big, I needed to start grabbing these issues as soon as they come out.
And you think you are just reading, the next 4 issues of Superman, say it's about Conduit or, any other character. Like, I don't think this specific structure works without the like kind of classic tragedy where something is going in a certain direction. Even if you don't know if he's going to die, I think you need to know that, like, by the end of this fight, things are going to be very different. Like, this is not an average month in the Superman books.
That's interesting. I mean, it feels sort of like,
because realistically,
it feels impossible.
Yeah. It's impossible to put yourself in that mindset.
Yeah, like I'm going like, what? Because to me, part of me goes like, oh, it might have been insane to be reading this and just all of a sudden be like, what? Like he killed him. What? No, he was supposed to. I mean,
because like he is fighting to the death every month. Like any month could have been the death of Superman because the bad guys are trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And like,
but you have, so it's like, not too long ago when I reread that Exile run, and there's parts in there where Superman is trapped without his powers out in space. It's like any one of these guys could just shoot him or whatever. But in the back of my mind, I'm always going like, he's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I know what happens after this. I know how this. I basically know how this runs. Even though there was like individual issues in there where I was going, I don't know if I ever read this one.
Yeah.
So it's like, so there is like that sense of like, I'm nervous for him in those issues, but I was like, he's going to be fine.
I think you need the clanging chimes of doom as like,
to know that for it to register that it's like, yeah, to like feel that looming sense of dread as you're reading it, as those panels are getting smaller, the number of panels is getting smaller, to feel like that dread is creeping in on you. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's interesting.
I don't think, and this is kind of true of the whole, not the whole Triangle era, this part of the Triangle era. I don't think any single character has ever had this many good books at the same time. And I really don't think any character has ever had this many tied in together good. Like, Spider-Man tried to do the Superman brain trust.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. Man, I was reading some Ben Reilly Spider-Man, maybe like, I don't know, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And like the 4 artists on that, Mark Bagley, John Romita Jr., Dan Jurgens, and Sal Buscema. And I'm just like, those are 4, like every issue. I'm just like, fuck yeah. This is a good looking comic book.
It's a great lineup. Well, I got to say that too about this, and then on into the return, or the Reign.
Yeah.
You can't. I sing John Bogdanov's praises at the drop of a hat. He's incredible in every bit of this. He's really kind of I think the unsung hero of that era for just like what a sort of like, those issues almost feel like future proof because his art is so dynamic. Can
I read the 4 creative teams we got here?
Oh, by all means, I do. I just was to say real quick, like about him though, there's like, his art is so great. And it's like in that first issue where it's like Superman's dealing with the escaped war, the refugee war worlders in the underground metropolis or whatever. There's like parts in that where it just reads so beautiful. It's like the Fleischer Superman music kicked on in my head as I'm reading it. Yeah. And it's just like, wasn't even prepared, which is funny because it wasn't the John Williams Superman theme or anything, but there was like a part that happened and I was just like, dun, dun, dun. You could hear it just like start playing perfectly. Like this is the kind of like rough and tumble beat 'em up Superman that kind of music. And he like gets that across so well. But also like a Superman that's still like this. I feel like those pages, the energy to all of that still looks like it feels just as vibrant to me as something that's like really great today. Yeah. And that's, but across all of these creative teams, I'm like, these are all such wonderful and they're all in different ways. Yeah. But some of the best work of some of these people's, maybe I won't say their career. Dan Jurgens, certainly. This is like some of the highlights of his stuff.
I had to read his Thor run. I've never read his Thor run. I've heard good things.
I'm trying to. I was reading it when it came out, and I'm like, I'm a fan of Dan Jurgens unless he's ever comes out saying something bad, in which case I never liked him. You never know. You never know when one of your heroes is going to betray you. But these days, I mean, I just feel like John Bogdanov does not get a ton of attention because Dan Jurgens is the one that actually drew the issue where Superman dies, and he designed Doomsday. But even though I was like, all of these guys do such interesting takes on that design. Yeah. Go ahead. So you're going to say the creative teams.
We've got Dan Jurgens writing and drawing. And then we've got Roger Stern and Jackson. Is it Guice?
Now, I've always pronounced, since I was a kid, I've pronounced it Geis.
Geis? Jackson Geis? Yeah. Jackson.
I have no idea if that's right. It's literally, I'm just going phonetic from when I was 10 years old or whatever. But
we got the Roger Stern and Jackson Geis. Roger Stern, man.
Boy, you can tell he's
like, I'm just like, I think about just how many characters Roger Stern has had just like all-timer runs on.
Yeah, you're gonna love hearing him talk on this documentary.
I get.
Do you know what he looks like? Have you ever seen him in anything?
No.
The way he dresses and looks and talks, complimentary. I'm saying this complimentary.
Okay.
It's like he is like exactly how I pictured him. Like the way that he conducts himself in the interviews, like how sort of like the sort of pride it seems like he feels in talking about the Superman stuff. But he is also like the most, like when you think of like a nerdy writer who is successful and has like the confidence of success, but is also still a huge nerd, like, you know, sort of like someone like a Harlan Ellison.
Yeah.
Like he's like that.
That tracks.
Yes, but it's like in a charming way, unless he said something bad recently, in which case, forget I ever said anything.
Man, but I finished his Avengers run maybe a year or two ago, and just got so mad for him that he was getting kicked off, because I'm like, this is so good. Your plans were so good. I'm just so mad that they wouldn't let you do what you wanted to do.
I mean, I would want to dig more into that, but I was like, we're already like 2 hours into barely talking about the death of Superman.
We got Jerry Ordway and Tom Grummett.
Oh boy.
And then Louise Simonson and Jock Bottom.
And everyone, it's like, I love this documentary just because it's so nice to see them putting in the kind of effort of like a real sort of, you know, it's not overly critical or in depth or anything, but it is like, it gives you like a real good, and just getting to hear these people talk at length about how they feel about some of this stuff and how some of this stuff happened is wonderful.
And like,
especially with them being able to talk about it with like a lot of perspective.
Yeah. I love the like, so they're doing the hand the baton thing, which I think is so difficult. Like, you think about when a character has multiple lines going at the same time, you think like, oh, well, just do different like tones for each. Like, I think of the like Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker, spectacular. Like when you're doing that and you're like, okay, this is the character focus. This is everybody is telling a story. Everybody's passing the baton, but everybody has their pet characters that the other ones aren't touching. And I love that.
I love that, but I loved, and because you've talked about that previously, I was more aware of that this time also, and was trying to like notice the people like, okay, I can tell who's Roger Stern's pet people. I can tell who Louise Simonson's pet people are, that kind of thing. And well, of course, you can tell who Dan Jurgens' pet people are when he's going like, well, Booster Gold's got to be in there. Can we get Agent Liberty in there? Who else can we, but the way that it's interesting to see how some of those characters also get handled when it's like, this is somebody's more their pet character, but then seeing how they get handled by the other people. And it's like, I think that like the kid, what's the kid's name? Mitch.
Yeah.
Who's like the kid that's like, Superman's lame. I want to listen to Guns N' Roses and talk about how cool Guy Gardner is.
Yeah.
That kid, it was funny, like in the issue that he shows up in, which I think is the Justice League issue, which is Jurgens writing that.
Yeah.
I want to say something about, because this almost like, I feel like this never gets really mentioned because it's not the right part of the regular creative team, but in that JLA 69, nice. It's like Jurgens is writing that and then doing the layouts, but Rick Burchett is doing Burchett. He's doing the finishes on that. And it's like, I think that is, he makes Dan Jurgens' layouts. It's like the layouts are great and dynamic, but like the finishes, the way that Rick Burchett is doing that, and also Gene D'Angelo's colors on that, I think that's like some of the best Dan Jurgens art has or will ever look.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know much about Rick Burchett, but I was, after like having that kind of stuff in mind, reading this, I was going like, it's really incredible seeing how different. I mean, because then you get to the regular Superman book, and it's Jurgens writing and doing the pencils and like layouts, and then Brett Breeding, who was his inker for years and years and years, handling that. And it is like, you can see a difference in like how his art comes across.
Yeah. It's not that this is like, because that's a part of this story that gets preserved in a way that like the rest of
it wouldn't
a
otherwise.
Justice League run is not like getting
Yeah,
sued.
exactly. All of that. And what's funny is I recently got some of that Superman and the Justice League. I think the volume 2 of that collection that came out not that long ago. That's got a bunch of that Jurgens stuff on Justice League when it was like Justice League and Justice League International and leading up to the death. So it's all that stuff with the mystery of Bloodwind and yada yada. All of those things. Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. This gets sort of, that issue gets saved in this in a way that wouldn't have otherwise. And it's funny to just go like, oh, and then we got the one part where Maxima's here, and
I like Max. Hey, speaking of Maxima,
hey, Maxima's going to be in Man of Tomorrow. We haven't talked about that. Oh my god,
I've always liked
so that was
Maxima.
also yeah, same. And that was great seeing her show up here. I think my first introduction to Maxima was in a Superman annual during Armageddon 2001 crossover, where it had Superman and Maxima kissing on the cover.
Yeah.
And they were kissing at Lois Lane's grave.
That's such a good cover.
It's a great cover, but it's also like a poor timing. What's the word I'm looking for?
Poor form,
not the time or play. Yeah, poor form.
It's such a Silver Age cover concept. Like, why is Superman like? I wanted to have blurbs.
Find out inside.
Who is the mystery woman who stole the Man of Steel's heart?
And I'm like, I know she was around before that, but it's like, it's so exciting to think like, oh, because it's funny when they were talking about who they were looking for a certain type of actress that they were casting for this. People were going, oh, it's going to be Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's going to be in this. And then that it turns out to be Maxima is incredible, unless this is like a fake out.
I don't think
where it's like, yeah, Maxima's going to be in it, but psych, here's Wonder Woman too.
Man, I'll be pissed. not pissed. I'm just thinking about how they promised Captain America versus the Serpent Society and then made they're like, we're just joking, it's Civil War. And I was like,
yeah,
I want to see him fight some snake mercenaries. You know what's funny that I feel like doesn't get brought up enough in the world? That Cat Grant has an interview with Superman the day he dies.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it should be like, I had the last filmed interview with Superman.
Even though he had to bounce out of it in the middle of it. But I love
still,
all those kids' questions.
Yeah.
And it's like the way that's like cut in between, like what's happening as the Justice League's just getting
demolished.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in the middle of that, and Superman's having to go like, yeah, I wish that they're, because all of those questions and answers also feel like very pointed at the comic reading audience and just sort of the larger audience just in the pop culture sort of interpretation or whatever of Superman, like how people see him just like on your average person level.
And it's such a bold move. You had mentioned this, that like we do not know where Doomsday's from, what's his deal, like really until
it's like 2 years later at least.
That like
it's super. Oh, I mean, Superman, it's called Hunter Prey is the name of
Prey,
the.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I can talk all about that too. Don't worry, and I will be rereading that at some point. I mean, we can talk about it, but
I last read
Wave
that
Rider.
At
Wave
Disney
Rider.
World.
Wave Rider is the other Dan Jurgens guy I was forgetting earlier that he's always got to try to get in there. You read that at Disney World?
I read Superman Hunter Prey at Disney World at the hotel pool during a half day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Boy.
This was like 2 years ago too. Like
oh. I thought you meant when it came out.
No.
Okay.
This is about 2 years ago.
Oh, that's even better.
And
yeah,
that's
fantastic.
I had my little tablet out reading.
I was picturing you with those prestige bound 4-issue miniseries. I'm picturing you like as a kid at the pool with that.
That would be fucking great. It's so fun. I always like in my head. I always have the like when I was like 16. I used to think, man, I wish I read comics as a kid. Mm-hmm. Like I always see kids reading comics in like media. I wish that had been me. Yeah. But then I'm like, I got into reading comics when I was 10. I'm like,
yeah, that's
a child. Like
that's a child. Yes.
But I wasn't
just because
just because you didn't
Gave everyone mustaches in, like some people on this podcast. I had comics just like way before I could read. I just liked looking at the pictures. I loved anything that they could get me at Superman. It's just, and it was like, fortunately, when I was born, it was just like a prime time for there being a readily available Superman stuff everywhere. So it was like everyone in the family, it was like an easy get for me to go like Superman. And then they go, okay, yeah. And comics were 50 cents or 75 cents or whatever. So
it's stuff you could hand a kid and a kid could read and understand, which is what my I tried, like, Claremont was back on X-Men, and I tried to read that at 9, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
That's kind of the interesting thing, though, is that, like, I used to see that not limitation, what's the word I'm looking for? The impenetrability of some of these things when I was a younger comic reader, past the point where I was just like, I just read whatever's around.
Yeah.
Or it's like, I see whatever's at the grocery store, or at the gas station or something that I'm going like, ooh, can I get a comic? I don't care who it is. I just, or like, I don't care what it is. I don't care about the story. I'm just going, this one looks fun. I want to read this and see what happens. And there would be all these things where it's going, where it's referencing, see issue, whatever, all this stuff. And it's like, to me, that used to be the like bumping up against the friction of that, not understanding what's going on used to excite me. As opposed to, like, I feel like now when it's like everything is they try to make everything so like new reader friendly, and not just new reader friendly in comics, but it feels like so much in our waking lives is trying to be as frictionless as possible.
Yep.
To the point where like no one can withstand like a second of just being alone with their thoughts. I mean, and I'm not like I'm saying that like, but not me, because I'm certainly guilty of that all the time without even realizing it, where I'm just going, let me put a podcast on. It's too quiet in here in my head.
Yeah.
But that used to, like, that mystery.
There's a world of possibility.
Yes. That mystery. And it's like when Luke says, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars or whatever. Or
what
like,
are those?
What are those? What is the Kessel Run? What is the blah, blah, blah? Like all those things that used to be like, fill your head with like wild ideas about what it could be about. And it's like the blanks that like the gaps you'd have to try to fill yourself in what people's relationships were, and you're just going by the context clues. You're like, oh, they're kind of this relationship seems icy. Wonder what happened between these two. Like all of that stuff is like so. I don't know. It's like it was exciting to me as opposed to being like, ugh, I don't know what's going on.
So I will say I agree with you wholeheartedly about that kind of stuff.
I know there's like a happy medium, but like,
well, for me, the problem was I gotten a 3-month subscription to Uncanny X-Men. It was like they were giving it away for free if you went and saw the X-Men movie. Which, what a great idea.
So we're talking 2000, yeah.
2000. The 3 issues I got was one before Maximum Security, the crossover.
Oh yeah, I'm like I remember that name.
One in the middle of Maximum, and so I got 3 consecutive issues of Uncanny X-Men, none of which had anything to do with each other. And then like one would be like cliffhanger, follow it up in The Search for Cyclops, who was dead at the time, and I was just like,
oh boy,
I genuinely like. It's not that I'm like, oh, I have to read between the lines. It was I don't know how like. These are
what do you mean? What is that? Yeah.
These are 3 numbers that came in a row. I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I don't have a comic book shop I can go to. Like, you mailed these to me. These came to my house in the mail.
Why did you do this? Why did you send me Why didn't you send me these comics are broken? Send me some good ones. Send me some comics that work. We just want comics that work. I think that there is a way. There's a big difference though in like how I think by the time you get to the early, to 2000, late 90s, early 2000, the way that comics are structured even are like, it's amazing that it's like comics used to be both very new reader unfriendly, but so much easier to read.
You used to be able to just pick up an issue and go and know that there are gaps, but accept the gaps. And now you can pick up a number 1 and still not know what the hell is going on, and not in a way that's like, oh, these are gaps I could fill. Just be like, Did I miss
and not even
something?
get a story, not
Yeah.
even get like something that makes you want to read the next one, because you're just going like, this is the first 10 minutes of a movie as opposed to this is the first chapter in a story.
Yeah.
Boy, yeah.
Back to Death of Superman. So I love Doomsday. Just he crushing the bird is like the first thing you see,
Ugh.
which so
And
like
every one of those moments with him, those like iconic moments with him, like still just like packs such a punch.
kills the deer. And I think
Ugh.
what is so good about it is that it is like mission statement. Sometimes I think Doomsday gets a bad rap because they're like, oh, he's just a bone monster who
Mhm.
punched Superman to death. And like Superman usually, like Lex is a better like counterpoint to what Superman represents. But like Doomsday and Superman are counterpoints in that you have a man to whom all life is sacred, and then
Mhm.
he is up against someone who respects nothing about the sanctity of life, who kills
Yeah.
wantonly.
Yeah.
And what
The
is
laughter at the killing of these animals, that, and also that it's like there's enough of he's not just a thoughtless beast. It's like, well, of course, the way Maxima describes him is, I had it written down. She has like such a great, and I didn't remember this like explanation of him either.
Yeah.
But when she describes him as, after trying to like read his mind, she says, I found the creature. He's hate, death, and bloodlust personified, nothing more. But the way that Doomsday sits there and puts his hand out and just waits patiently for the bird to land in it. He's like calm enough. He's not just like a rampaging brute, that it's like he's calm enough to sit there and wait and then laugh about it. Wait for the deer, be calm and gentle enough for a deer to come right up to him. And then just to get it's like, not just doesn't respect the sanctity of life, actively revels in snuffing out life, in destruction.
And like that's his main
horrifying
like life goal.
Yeah, I just want to mess stuff up. I'm just here to.
I feel like the wrestling thing is like their like pointed social commentary about like wrestling. Like, oh, Doomsday loves this bloodlust.
How dare they? How dare they impugn the art form I love so?
I love that these 4 issues specifically, they do make an effort to like tap, like at least touch every element that's going on in the Superman books at the time. It's like I love when they're fighting and they crash through the habitat. From because like they're doing a lot of Kirby Fourth World stuff in the books.
Oh my god! And I had never realized or appreciated until this read also how much Kirby there is in those issues of Action Comics, where I was just going like, oh, look at how he's doing this. That's like very Kirby. And it's just, I mean, I did not have the eyes to see it in the past, I guess, but no slouches anywhere in this.
I love that you get Lex and
Matrix and Supergirl,
which
like tap, they're jumping into that for a little bit.
You get Bibbo. You got to have Bibbo.
Bibbo, Professor Hamilton.
Yeah,
a little bit of whatever the romance going on with Professor Hamilton and whoever that lady is. I can't remember.
He just, to me, and I know I've said like this era of Superman is like so, because what I love about comics is the soap opera, the supporting cast, the big main character, but like this era having filled out Superman's world so robustly.
Yeah.
Is why it is my favorite era. Like, even if I have quibbles about, characterization of any, like, this world in which Superman lives is so rich to me. And there's so, like, because you have 4 writers all interested in different people, like, you can look anywhere in Metropolis and find an interesting story. And I love that. Yeah.
I mean, you got the SCU, you got Turpin and Maggie Sawyer show up in there. It really does give everybody sort of gets a chance to make an appearance in this most important Superman story, but that's only happening because you've got writers, a team of writers who are going, I like I focus on this kind of
I
stuff.
want Maggie Sawyer here.
Yes,
I want Bibbo here.
I want to see them show up in this and see how this plays. I mean, of course, you get a lot more of that than in what we'll do at some point later. We've already decided we're going to talk about all of this: the death, the funeral for a friend, and then the reign and return of Superman. We'll do that all. We'll break that up.
Yeah,
we'll put some space in between. We'll do some fun stuff in between.
I always underestimate how I'm like, let's do all of it. No.
We're always a little too we think we can get more done in a time period than we are ever able to, because we start having too much fun.
There's too much to say about Superman.
And there's too many tangents to go on, and like I feel like all of those things enhance the if you just want to know what happened in the story,
it's
can
4
watch
issues of comics. Read them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, or even the whole thing. If you do the whole it's 6 or 7 issues total or whatever. But I think all of these things that we talk about, that we end up getting into, they make the conversation richer, and it's interesting seeing where the talking about this stuff takes us, unless it's super aggravating to people. I like to think that the people that listen to this, because like when I listen to podcasts that I love, that talking, especially when they're talking about something I'm interested in, like a movie or whatever, and like seeing where it takes their brains is interesting to me. And I hope that's the case here. Also, folks, man, if you guys have got anything that you want to say about the death of Superman, or if you have any recommendations for the great comics I need to be showing this kid, I'm happy to receive those recommendations, or to get those Death of Superman related questions or comments. You can
pass along Rom. I've been reading a lot of Rom lately.
How is there a way to get Rom to them that's not that one of those, like that huge omnibus or something?
Single issues. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, well, I'll throw some of those in. I do really like the idea of I'm like, here's the long box full of stuff that I think is good.
Yeah,
that you should check out, that is worth your time. I'm not saying you're going to like it all. Not all of it is going to hit for you, but just pull whatever you want out of here one at a time, and then like come back and we'll talk about it. And then that might make me take some things out based on how you respond to one thing, or add some new things in, hand you the next chapter of that or whatever. But I could do like trades and single issues, just throw a bunch of stuff in there and kind of see what resonates. If anyone has had, we used to get, it's funny, like we would get questions like this on the Gosper about, like, people would go like, you guys are such big X-Men guys. Like, what X-Men would you tell people to read? What's the first X-Men trade, or first 5 X-Men trades you'd give somebody? Stuff like that. And I love these kinds of questions, even though they are like torturous to me, because I want to get it so right. I want to think so hard about it, and still will mess up and forget things and whatever. So I'm happy to hear people's, and obviously you as well. If anything comes to your mind that you think would be a thing at any point in the next however long, we'll see how long this kid stays interested in this.
But give him Death of Superman.
I mean,
it's I love, because you do read this and you think, how is this going to end in a way that is not just like Superman like being killed? And like, you know, I get twitchy when Superman kills people. Mm-hmm. I didn't care for Man of Steel. I think this is a way to do it, that like Superman and Superman's not trying to kill Doomsday.
Yeah.
They punch each other and both die and blow up every window in the Daily Planet at the same time.
Yeah. It's interesting too but it does have that part where, and it's always kind of like stuck out to me, not necessarily like in a bad way, but it's always stuck with me, that it's like the way that, you know, Lois says something to the effect of, I mean, I could look at it, I've got it right here, but like she says something to the effect of like, but you know, how are you going to stop him? Like,
yeah,
he's going to kill you, and like you can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's partly maybe she's saying she's worried that he can't beat this monster. And part of it is her saying like, it's kind of speaking for all of us. Like, you're Superman. You don't kill people.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not really a people, which I guess is part of why Maxima has that thing. It's like, there's nothing in his mind, but just like, badness.
Man, the dialogue in this is just so like iconic and like I've got like, even if it kills me, Metropolis is where I hold the line. It's just like such a great, and then right at the end, like, just remember, no matter what happens, I'll always love you, always. But now Doomsday gets his. It's just like, yeah, man.
Yeah. That's when you can hear them. You can see how this story seemed like, you get why they wanted to do this as a movie in the 90s, because it just reads like such a slam dunk for that kind of a movie moment. Like when you get to have like big moments like that. Speaking of, this is also why they've done 2 different animated adaptations of this, not counting even the stuff that they did on like on TV shows.
Yeah.
And I do think that we should at some point watch both Superman Doomsday and then the Death of Superman and see how we feel about those interpretations of both the story in comparison to the comics and in comparison to each other.
Yeah.
See, like,
do they include the return? Like, what are they?
So Superman
like?
Superman Doomsday is death and return in 75 minutes.
I have no idea how that happened. How you do that?
Well, to varying results. Now, but I do think it's an interesting way that the way that they did it is they had to go, all right, we got to really kind of refigure some stuff out, because we can't do, it's telling a different story about just there's a monster named Doomsday that shows up out of nowhere. No one knows what the deal is, why it's here, but it's going to kill Superman. Then from there, it's very different. But it has him, you have to get through him coming back as well. Then the other one is more of a straight adaptation. It's still very different.
Because that one's 2 parts.
It's
right?
2 parts. The first part is just the death. It ends with him dying, and a little bit of like aftermath. And then the second one is the return, or the reign and the return.
Yeah.
I think it's just called Return of Superman, though, not like, maybe I'm getting that wrong. But they're both like, and that's also like an interesting, I would want to wait and do that one then after we've done the actual comic stuff too. But
I kind of wish they had made that movie, the live action one,
the Nicolas Cage, Tim Burton one.
I don't wish they had made every draft of it, because there are a lot of bad drafts of that.
Yeah.
I think there could have been a good movie, or at the very least, a movie I would enjoy watching.
A movie that you would enjoy watching now. To me, I think that there's a movie in there that I would really enjoy watching now, but at the time, I think I would have been suicidal over. I mean, but it's the kind of thing where it's like, but because also it's like, now I have the safety of like, hey, we're going to get a good Superman movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be 30 years later. We're going to get a good Superman movie.
I highly recommend still the Best Movies Never Made. Death of they do.
Oh, yeah.
They do all this Death of Superman drafts. There's one of them that's pretty fucking good, I think.
I would also, and I will recommend the Death of Superman Lives documentary that it goes through, talks to all these people, and like you get to see all this stuff and there's stuff in that made me go, hey, maybe this could have been cool.
That was what first awakened me to like, I actually really like Nicolas Cage's take on Clark.
It's an interesting take. And it's, the thing is like all of that stuff that we had heard and like the drawings and sort of like the test suit stuff that we had seen for years and years and years, all just looked so like nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
And then to see in this documentary, and because like, what's the guy's, I think the guy's name's John Schnepp, who sadly he's passed away not too long after that came out. But the guy who made the documentary, he was like the one who finally got some of this stuff like brought to light, where it was like, hey, they had a suit for Nicolas Cage that I think is one of the best, would have been one of the best live action Superman costumes.
Yeah.
Where you go, well, that looks like Superman. That's totally Superman. And it's like, I would rank it in our rankings. I would probably put it, I would definitely put that one suit. I'd put that above both the Brandon Routh and the Henry Cavill suit.
Yeah.
I'd have to really see it in motion and see some more stuff happen with it to know how I would compare it to the Christopher Reeve and the David Cornsweet ones. But
I know they wouldn't have done all of this in the movie, but
yeah, Nicolas
Cage would have been extremely good if he had to play Clark, Superman, Eradicator, and Cyborg Superman.
Oh, what a dream come true for him.
How fucking cool would that be?
Oh, that would have been incredible because he would have been doing them. I mean, that's also like when that would have come out and like his emotional investment in that and like him at the absolute height of his powers.
Yeah.
I think would have of his acting, he was like at the peak of his fame around that time or that point. You could say he's gone down and come back up and, but it's like certainly at that time, he's very, there's a reason why they're trying to cast Nicolas Cage for this. It's because he's a very popular actor at the moment.
Have you looked at the Lois and Jimmy cast lists, like the people that they were considering?
Oh, sure. But I mean, by all means, if you want to go into some of that,
we got for Lois. This is just a great crop here. We got Sandy Bullock. I think she would have killed it.
Yep.
Mira Sorvino, Julia Roberts, Elizabeth Shue, Jennifer Aniston, Bridget Fonda, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Cameron Diaz.
Mm-hmm. I remember all of these names being bandied about at the time, and it was like, it's so, now not to speak in favor of AI because I wouldn't do that, but it's the kind of, if they could make an AI that actually did something good where it was like, I think we've talked about this before, but it's like Matt Gorley always says that in his mind, heaven is a screening room with a video store that's got every movie you've ever wanted to see.
Yeah.
Especially movies that didn't exist, like David Lynch's version of Return of the Jedi, like just the movies that didn't happen, being able to actually see how those would have played out.
Yeah.
Every one of those people you listed, I'd be like, I'd love to see a movie where I'd love to see that version.
Yeah.
I would watch 10 versions of this Tim Burton Superman movie where it's like every one is a different, rotation of who the cast is.
I truly think Nicolas Cage and Chris Rock, who was one of the contenders for Jimmy Olsen.
He's the first one that Sandra Bullock and then Chris Rock are the two first people that came to mind when you asked that. So
I think Nicolas Cage and Chris Rock are maybe the only believable, I believe these guys are best friends out of any Jimmy and Clark I've ever seen.
Interesting.
Because as much as we say it, it doesn't often play that Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen are best friends.
There's just usually not time to see them doing a lot of palling around.
Even in shows and stuff, though, it's like, but like Chris Rock and Nicolas Cage, I can see hanging out.
I'd love to see how they get along as those characters, though. It's like,
yeah, well, that's what I think that would be a dynamic energy.
It's interesting, though, too, that he's like, maybe him being Clark's best friend, but he's Superman's pal. Is he better friends with Superman or with Clark?
Man, I read this months ago, and I've been wanting to bring it up on the show and just kept forgetting. I was just digging through my comics, and I found one I hadn't read yet, and it was Superman Truth, and it is a one-shot after Superman reveals his identity in the Bendis run.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And there's a great Jimmy Olsen story in there. And Jimmy Olsen is like, all these years, I thought there were two people in the world who called me Jim. And I just realized there's only one. And I'm like, that's so good, man.
That's hard to argue with.
I'm still a little surly about them walking that back within 1 month.
I'm not, because it was a terrible idea.
No,
hold on.
It's a bad idea, but I thought the execution was really good.
See, and now I'm just the opposite. I think that it could be an interesting idea, but the execution I did not like.
Interesting.
But we could be also like what expectations were for you or were not being met for me could be completely different territories, you know, where it's like, I didn't like it because they did this, but this thing I thought they handled well. And you could be going, yeah, that's the part I'm talking about. So
See, for me, it's like,
I mean, but also
the thing I like about Secret Identities and that I don't like when Secret Identities go away is that human to human, like interpersonal relationship, you usually lose side characters. I think of Supergirl season 1 versus Supergirl working for the DEO or whatever she's working
DO,
for.
yeah.
Where all of a sudden, every scene in Supergirl is now about whatever the superhero plot is. There's no room for like diversions or everything. To have
you're not
everyone
worried, she's
be
not
like,
so worried about getting the story.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I've got to get Kat's coffee in time or I'm going to be fired.
Which I love. That's the stuff for me. But like Bendis making it that like people are like, oh, you can still, we're okay with you still being Clark and still being a reporter. And like this part of you doesn't actually change. Like all that's happening is that you are not like lying when you're attributing stuff now. And like,
yeah, but
I really
like
liked that take.
Okay.
What were you about to say?
Well, no, yeah, I was trying to remember because it's been a while since I read all of that. I'm trying to go like, I was like, how did they get around that? It's like, I mean, and especially I'm asking you as someone who would know, I was like, how do they get around the, like all of the journalistic integrity, unethical stuff about like, hey, you were doing all this stuff as, I mean, kind of like how they bring up in the movie. Like I can't remember what the out for that is or like how they approach that. I like basically I can remember a scene where he's like in the Daily Planet dressed like Clark, but he's got his glasses off with like the Superman hair and it's awkward.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't like, how do you explain what was their fix for that?
I don't really remember. I just remember going into that issue like so like I hate this idea, and then I got to the end and I was like, I actually because the whole Bendis run, I loved Bendis's voice for Superman. Like to me, you know, the plots are whatever because that's never really been, I think, Bendis's strong suit, but like. He always captured exactly what I thought Superman should like feel and sound like and treat people. And I loved that. And I feel like that story specifically, I came out of it really being like, oh, we'll have to reread it. Man.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we need to, maybe it's worth a reread. I just, there was a lot of decisions throughout that. And I was like, I was buying, you know, I was there ready to buy that.
Yeah.
You know, Matt and I talked about that every time a new issue would come out. I think we did several issues or, you know, several episodes about it. And there's definitely stuff in there that's like, okay, this is good, but it's like the stuff sort of like, yeah, like getting the voice was never the problem for me.
Yeah.
It's like everything surrounding, it's like, I think he writes a good Superman. I did not like the kind of situations that he was writing for Superman. Like the story itself, I did not, and you know, and then some of the decisions that were made and yada yada.
Yeah, but
yeah, I mean, you never feel like he always feels like he's got a good Superman.
And it's what I liked about it was it was good, but it was always like surprising to me. Like the things he would think or say or do, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about it like that, but I love this. Like there's like a bit where he's like, I'm really just too tired to try and convince you to be good. Like I've tried a lot and I really I'm gonna ask you, but like at the end of the day, please just fucking do it.
And who's he talking to?
He's talking to what's her name? Zappy McZapperson from
Livewire?
Livewire. I kept wanting to say Static Shock, and I'm like, that's so not right.
That's so crazy because I just got a text from someone about Static, and while you had to step away for a second, I checked my phone and there was a text about Static, complete with a redesign of him.
Oh,
yeah, that's just an amazing coincidence.
I just want to hit you with a few white Jimmy Olsens they were considering. which I only say
Okay.
because this is how the lists were written by the studio.
Uh-huh.
They've got it titled, but we got a Paul Rudd,
Hey.
and Matthew Perry, Robert
yeah.
Sean Leonard from
I know
from-
that name, but I can't
from
put a face
House.
to it.
and Dead Poet Society.
I know that name. I know who this is, but I just can't picture his face.
Lucas Haas.
Sure. No.
Do you know him?
Bad. Yeah, no, I know who
yeah.
it is, but I would like nah.
Yeah, I would not like that either. I could see a Paul Rudd. I think it would be very. I mean, they wouldn't have put Matthew Perry and Jennifer Aniston in the movie,
Yeah.
but
I would go with
watch-
I think I would go with a Courtney Cox, Lois Lane over a Jennifer Aniston one easily.
It is interesting how many blondes are on this list. Mira Sorvino, Elizabeth Shue, Jennifer Aniston, Bridget Fonda, Gwyneth Paltrow, Cameron Diaz. Those are all blondes.
Yeah, I mean, but also you're reading just like these were the popular, like, you know, they were trying to get,
yeah,
they were trying to get, I mean, the fact that Matthew Perry is on the list as for that is like telling of where we were as a society, where popular culture was for who they were trying to get. Like, but all of those people, I mean, like, I'm not even saying like Jennifer Aniston would be bad. I'm just saying I would definitely take Courtney Cox over her. But every one of those, I mean, like I said, I was like Mira Sorvino, Lois Lane. Yeah, I want to give that a try.
Yeah.
Let's give that a spin.
Folks,
Cameron Diaz.
yeah.
I mean, I'd certainly watch it. I don't think it would work.
I don't see it. Yeah,
But Elizabeth Shue, good Lord, that'd be great. And if it had been her and Nicolas Cage,
yeah, back again.
like, after leaving Las Vegas, like, holy moly. That's Bridget Fonda. I would love that. I think she could have been great. I'd watch any of these now.
Folks, listen to my Friends podcast as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I watch I've seen a lot of Matthew Perry movies in the last year and a half.
Well, I mean, like, there's certainly like we could get into the like specifics on the issues, like of what happens and that stuff. But it's like this feels more like the kind of thing where it's like, hey, folks, go reread it and then think about what we said.
It's 6 issues. Like, it'll take you an afternoon. I
seems
did
much
it with
bigger
a child
than you think it is.
hanging out with me.
It seems bigger. That was the thing too, is it's like how quick I ran through it, because there was like I got to a point like where I was getting closer to the end and I was going, is this really almost to this? Like have I skipped some? It feels like it feels light.
Yeah.
But it's because it happens in an afternoon.
Yeah. And like, again, I just, like you said, this was, I look at like One World of Doom, which took, 10 calendar months to get through.
Yeah.
And like, this is
such a bigger story
because it's coming out weekly. It's over in a 1 month of comics.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange did one thing this month and Superman did all this.
This reminds me of a thing I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to try to find. So years and years ago, Chris Sims did a podcast, like he was a guest on some podcast where they were talking about the death of Superman, and he said something on there that I've never heard anyone else like talk about this aspect of the story, like, and even the people who made it, where it's like I feel like this is. The way he was talking, as best I remember, it's been years since I listened to this, and I started like trying to see if I could find it again, and I probably gave up too easy. But so if anyone knows this episode I'm talking about, or it can find a link for it or something, let us know, because I would like to listen to it again. But he talks about in there how it's like part of the idea with this story was the idea of, and me saying like it happens in an afternoon, even though it's like over the course of time, and there was all this the biggest thing is that made it seem big was that there was like months of buildup of the expectation of it, and it's like, but when you just read the story by itself, free of that kind of context, you go like, man, this thing just shows up and like all of a sudden he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, and Sims was talking about how part of the point of this story was kind of like talking about, I hope I'm not getting this wrong. I'm doing my best, Chris. Is the idea that it's like how life sometimes like Doomsday is more like just all of a sudden like a natural disaster.
Yeah.
And it's just
or
like
a
you've
heart
got
attack even.
Yeah, or heart something where it's like you've got your whole life and plans and things you think and the people that care about you and the things around you, and suddenly something can just happen like that.
Yeah.
And everything is thrown into chaos and disarray, and you're going like, wait, I didn't have time to plan for that. I didn't have to, and it's like that feeling is like the uneasiness that underpins this whole story, where it's like you don't think something can happen to Superman.
Yeah.
And
It's so
like,
different than like other like the imaginary death of Superman stories where he is sick and is dying, or even All-Star Superman, where it's like, oh, you're going to die eventually, but you have time to do all this stuff. Like
Superman
no
finds
time.
out about this and he is dead within a few hours.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild to think about this character that has been looms so large in pop culture and like in our sort of nation's in the fabric of Americana. He is like our, one of our biggest cultural creations. And that's just when Chris said that, I was going like, it really like hit me. I was like,
I love
oh my
that.
God, it feels terrible. And that's like part of what makes it, there's that aspect. I mean, and you can just miss it completely in the feeling of like, it's a great, just boom, boom, boom fight of all this crazy stuff happens. Look at all this awesome chaos and destruction, and feels like a big budget spectacle movie kind of thing. But you see through then like the fact that the thing that really makes this story, as I don't know if we were talking about this before or if this actually made it on to, because we usually talk before we start recording, is the idea that it's like what makes this story what it is and as still like stay as impactful or whatever it is the fact that then they were like, hey, and then the next month things do not go back to normal. It's that now you have to sit in that 2 months of the funeral for a friend issues where it's just going, okay, and now we just have to watch everyone try to pick up the pieces of this. And like, that's what really makes it sink in so much more, that it's just like, even Superman is not immune to, just as in this story, the way that like Superman's not immune to the realities of what life is like, how things can just happen and affect us in horrible ways and ruin our plans. And
and there's always that feeling of like, when it's something so like almost instantaneous as this, you have that feeling of like, oh my God, if I had just done this, we wouldn't be in the like, where your brain is almost like, maybe we can just rewind. Like, it's not right that you don't get a second chance at doing this. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm like trained on years of video games where it's like, oh yeah, you get a do-over when you like, you don't get one shot. Like, I don't know.
When it's like a real fluke thing like that shouldn't count. I'm going to go back to that last save.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, and it like, sucks that it's like, even in like, they were basically trying to like hit people this thing of like, even in this world, sometimes bad stuff just happens and like the superheroes can't fix it.
Yeah.
They can try to pick up the pieces after, but it's like, sometimes there's just a natural disaster and it's like, oh no, like, I don't know. And I think that's all of that stuff is like, we'll get into more of that when we do the Funeral for a Friend World Without a Superman arc. Yeah. But I'm sure that'll be a real fun listen. But I mean, I think that's like part of what the real legacy of this thing is going like, you can't you can't take Superman for granted.
Yeah.
You can't and you, in the same way that it's like, you shouldn't take the things that you love and the people you care about, and shouldn't take any of that stuff for granted, because you just never know when a giant green suited bone monster is gonna, or some jerk in a drunk driver or a whatever, like something can just change your world in an instant. And just in as that they were trying to get people to go like, hey, you need to appreciate that Superman is here for you,
and stop looking over at those Punisher comics. We'll show you why that's not a good idea next time.
Yeah. It's, and it's like, it's not that you can't enjoy other things too, but it's like, don't take the things that you care about for granted.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately what I think we're here to say.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Boy, what a heavy.
But I mean, I think that's a good lesson to take from it.
Yeah.
It's like that if even something that seems as unbeatable and always going to be there as Superman can be taken away from you. Speaking of like sort of real world relevancy, it's like I saw Ming Doyle posted some great art today that I shared on something, but and it had a quote with it that was something to the effect of where it says nothing is granted that can't be forgotten. So exercise your rights while you've got them. So it's like you can't, just because something has been around forever, just because it seems like you've got to appreciate these things, and you've got to maintain them and not take them for granted. And that seems as that aspect of like what the allegory of this story is certainly just as potent now as it was then for a number of things.
Go hug your loved ones and protect your neighbors.
I mean, honestly,
That's
but it, that's a little bit of a bummer thing to kind of end on, but it's also,
it's death
it's
of
important.
Superman.
It's Superman. Yeah. I mean, it's like Superman is like, it's as we've talked about before, the way that like Superman sort of more so, I think, than any other fictional character, certainly more than Batman. No knock on Batman. I'm just like, over the course of his, created history, Superman is like a character that rises to what the world needs of him.
Yeah, the cultural moment.
Yeah, and it's like, I think that as we saw with the movie last year, and as things continue this year, that's still really relevant, that it's like all of that kind of stuff. But I mean, to me, it's like a thing that, while a bummer, also does kind of like gives me a sense of it's a little too on the nose to say hope, but it does, like a sense of like, hey, you can't just give up. You can't just think that it's always going to be bad. Because it won't always be bad if you're willing to stand up and, for what you believe in.
As Lex Luthor says, when his eyes are open, it's all connected.
Yep. Man. So I had, and what's funny too is that like the last thing I have written down that I was like, I wanted to remember to say today seems very inappropriate to say after that. So I'm trying to figure out how I can save this for like, if we've got anything else we want to talk about.
Should we tell people what we're going to do next week? And then
yes, absolutely. Tell them about it.
Next episode?
Next time.
Next time. Yeah, I'm not going to make a promise we'll be here next week, but yeah, next time we have 2 drafts of the Superman script.
Superman 2025.
Superman 2025. Yes, James Gunn posted the final shooting draft, but before that, they very briefly posted an earlier draft as part of, I guess, their awards stuff.
Season.
Yeah, awards season. So they are slightly different. We're going to read them both. We're going to tell you what got cut out, what changed, how.
Wait.
I'm excited just to see how Gunn describes things, like
those moments that we've seen so many times and talked about and had our thoughts on them and speculate on, but it'll be so interesting to see like how those are actually like laid out, how he envisioned those verbally or like through the text, and how that was like, I'm very curious to see like, and then try to imagine or picture how like, oh, that's how this played out and that's how he described it to get to that place.
Yeah. I'm so excited. That's going to be fun.
Yes, that's going to be great. And then eventually we've got other stuff. We've got a whole, as you said, I mean, you want to talk about what this summer is going to be?
My summer with Supergirl, baby.
So excited. Oh, also, I saw a thing today that because they just announced that David Corenswet is officially got 2 movies on the calendar for this year because he will definitely be in Supergirl, and but he will also be in starring in a movie called Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh,
which is funny because it's like he goes from being like, oh, you're the most important guy, the most like center of the universe guy, and then someone called Mr. Irrelevant, which is a true story. He's playing a I assume I'm pretty sure I read that he's the main guy. He's the guy that it's about. It's a true story about a guy who played football for the New York Giants who died of cancer when he was like 26. And he was called Mr. Irrelevant because he was the last pick of the last round of the NFL draft that year. And then he went on to be memorable in some way. I didn't read the whole thing. I don't know what it is.
Purview. We know more about Bloodwind than we do.
Yes. Exactly.
Somebody get this man in a fucking musical. Somebody put David Corenswet in a goddamn musical, please.
The crazy thing is that the other announced star for it is Michael Shannon.
Okay.
So Superman and General Zod are starring in a movie together.
Something we've only seen 5 or 6 times before.
It's funny how these kinds of things, it's like once you do one of these superhero movies, it's basically like that's what's going to follow you for the rest of your career.
There'll always be an IMDb trivia piece where they're like, did you know these people were all in comic book movies?
Yeah. But like we're this kind of thing where it's like, they're going to have that question so many times.
I love that Michael Shannon never has any time for it.
Michael Shannon seems like such an interesting guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of interesting guys, I wanted to give a quick shout out. We're doing this the day after, but we were possibly going to record yesterday, which is why I had made this note. Even though people won't be hearing this, it'll be the next week at least. But I wanted to give a shout out and a happy birthday to a friend of the show, the guy who's did all that Super Night Live work for us.
I am so excited to watch more of those. I want you to know that it's always top of mind.
Yeah, we've got more of those to get back to, but Daniel Feltz, it was his birthday yesterday, and I'm thankful that he is around. He's someone I'm not taking for granted, hopefully, because he's a great dude, and I'm glad that he has provided us with such good questions and content and direction for this show at times. And just hey, everybody, you can. Well, I don't know if he'd want me giving his social media stuff out. I don't know, but if you run into him, if you're listening to this and you see him, or if he says it's okay for us to give his stuff out, everybody should. Even if you're just listening to this, just put it out into the universe. Happy birthday to him!
Happy birthday, Dan.
Yes,
do you go by Daniel or Dan?
He goes by both. I've heard people, but it is funny that it's like I do sometimes wrestle with what I should call him depending on who I'm talking to. So it's like, is this someone that knows him as a Dan or someone that mostly talks to him as a Daniel?
This is why I do not accept Jake as an alternative.
Oh, okay.
I'm just closing that book early.
I was like, is that always what isn't? But I feel like Jake is also just a name on its own.
No, I don't think so. It's only a Jacob nickname. My mom wanted to call me Jake. Well, and no, I think if it was an option, she would have named me.
I've got a friend. Or in the past, I've had known people that were Jakes, where I was like, I'm pretty sure his name is just Jake. It's not like it's short for Jacob. I don't think it's a nickname. But now I'm questioning myself, questioning my memory of. These
I would love
people.
To hear.
Well, because it's
your name
different.
Is Jake. Well, yeah, but that's true of most.
That's like in my brain, that's like an immediate, like if I, anyway.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Daniel. Dan.
Yes. Happy birthday, Dan. The show appreciates you. I love you. I hope you're having a good night or day or whatever it is it's nighttime when we're doing this. So I do hope you're having a good night as we're recording this, but whenever you hear this, I hope you're having a good time.
Soaking in the bath. I assume all of our listeners are soaking in the bath when they're
Listening to this. That's what they do. New episode dropped. Let me turn that water on. Let me draw a bath.
Yeah, you don't wait until you're ready to draw a bath and then put on the show. It's
Nope.
Oh shit.
When
Sorry,
the show
boss.
drops, you're like, here, get out. Everyone get out of the way.
Yabba dabba doo, and then you slide down the big dinosaur tail into your car.
Oh man, good stuff. All right, man, I have missed this so much.
Yeah. Folks,
It's good seeing you, bud.
Yeah, you too. You can find us online at mysummerwithsuperman.com. mysummerwithsuperman@gmail.com is our email if you have any emails for us. I haven't checked
Doomsday
it.
questions.
I might check it while we're while you're telling people where to find
do
you. But you can
Tell 'em where to
find
find
me
you.
online at Jacob_DeNoble on Twitter, which I am on less and less, and on Blue Sky at denoble.bluesky.com. Denoble.com.com is my website. Have a good time. I haven't updated it much, but I'm writing a little
There's
thing
still so
about
much good stuff on there.
what I'm doing in what I did in January. I kept track of all the TV shows I watched and comics I read and albums I listened to.
Wow.
It's like, I should do something with this. I watched all
Now,
of 911 Lone Star season 2. This is why I'm not watching Peacemaker. I'm busy watching 911 Lone Star.
I don't even know what that is.
It's, man, I fucking had this thought. I think it is a really great format for a Superman show. It
Go
is
on.
a spin-off of 911, that
Okay.
show with Jennifer Love Hewitt, where they famously had all the meteors crashing onto Earth. You saw the clip where everybody was making fun of this show that had a bunch of meteors landing on Los Angeles.
Now, I remember the show. I remember there being a show called 911. I remember seeing like people making fun of like a promo for it, where it was showing like this week's big, the big deal episode was like that. Yeah, there was going to be 911 getting called during a meteor storm. I had
Yeah.
no idea Jennifer Love Hewitt was involved.
Yeah, it's her. I think Angela Bassett's in it.
Her, I remember being involved in that promo, but
Jennifer Love Hewitt might be gone by now. I don't know.
J Love was not in the thing that I saw. Nor
Well, she might have been in the 911 booth.
She
Because
was
I
not
think
in
she's
the,
often answering the calls.
My point is, it's like she would have jumped out to me. I would have my history with her. It would have stood out to me.
But 911 Lone Star is a spinoff that takes place in Austin, Texas, with
sure.
Rob Lowe and Gina.
Is this a current show?
It just ended, I think, last year.
And it
you
was
got
on for how long?
like 5 seasons.
What? Okay, all right.
Man, I'm telling you, broadcast TV is still fucking. Everybody's like, oh, they don't make shows like broadcast TV. You're just not watching broadcast TV, you morons. They're there. And 911 Lone Star fucking rules. It's just
all right.
every episode they'll have their like soap opera, what's going on
Yeah.
with these firefighters'
Yeah.
lives. And it's like the world's most progressive firefighter house. Like there's a trans man, there's like a Muslim woman, there's Rob
Okay.
Lowe running it all. It's
All right.
great show. But interspersed is just like, it'll occasionally just cut to a 911 call where people are having the most ridiculous accidents possible, and then they have to go
Are these
respond.
based on real 911 calls?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I didn't know if
it's
that
like-
was like part of the hook of it.
I'm stuck in a grain silo, and like
Right.
you're like, okay, that's reasonable. Then the one recently was these kids landed their drone in a like prepper's backyard because he shot it down because he
Oh,
was like,
no.
no drones on my yard. But then he sees that it's being flown by kids, and he's like, don't move. You're in the minefield I've planted around my house.
Oh my god.
And they're like, okay, is there a map? And he goes, it's all up here. And then he takes one step and explodes. And now
oh my god.
and the shrapnel goes into one of the kids. And so now
No!
he's bleeding out, and they call 911. And now 911 Lone Star has to figure out how to cross this minefield to get to the kid. So they take like
Wow.
one of those bomb blankets and they throw it on they're like, okay, well, if it didn't explode, this part's safe. So then they jump to it.
Uh-huh.
And then they like draw a circle where it's safe, and then they throw it and it explodes, and they're like, okay, that's not safe. Get me another bomb blanket.
I hope we brought a bunch of them.
Gina Torres just started seeing the ghost of her dead husband. It's a great.
Oh boy!
It's,
Wow,
television is great, man.
Well, all right. I have been, all of my free TV show watching time has been is currently being split between Cowboy Bebop and Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh hell yeah! Have you seen Heated Rivalry yet?
No. Which, have I told you that I'm friends with the person that created that, and I didn't even know that it was the same person?
What the fuck?
Also, everyone that if you like Heated Rivalry, you need to thank me because
I do thank you.
Well, let me explain why. So, the person that wrote that,
Jacob Tierney?
No. That's maybe the creator of the show, but I'm talking about the person who wrote the books that the show is based on. She used to be in the comic blogging world, and I was friends with her from that. At Heroes Con one year, she's from Toronto or lived in Toronto at this point, whatever. She's friends with Darwin Cook and his wife back then, because she worked at the comic store that is I think it's called the Beguiling in Toronto, like one of the big comic stores in Toronto. Anyway, she was friends with a bunch of people. She anyway, the point is we were both at Heroes Con this one year, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to meet Darwin?" And I was like, "Of course. What, are you kidding me?" And it's like, but he is also like he was like sort of famously a little bit curmudgeonly. Yeah. Like a nice guy, but also like a little bit like curmudgeonly is not even the right way to say it, but he's just like, he didn't suffer fools gladly, basically. And I'm like, I'm sure I'm going to embarrass myself. And I was like very nervous about meeting him because I was like, I know he's going to think I'm an idiot and just like say something that destroys me. But so she introduced me to him for a second. It was like at night. It may have even been like after I think it was probably after the show at the hotel lobby bar that everybody hangs out in. And she'd kind of like introduced me to him. But I was trying to just like not say anything, just be polite and smile. And like, I'm happy to just get to be around these people. Cause he's like, but then she was like, "Hey, I need to get out of here," to him. She's like, I'm going to get out of here. And he's like, "You're not staying at this hotel?" And she's like, "No, I had to get a hotel that's like, further away." And Heroes Con takes place in like downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's like, if you're not at the hotel that the con is across the street from, it's like, there's not really anything else going on. It's not like, it's not like there's just a lot of foot traffic and a lot of people at, it's not. Anyway, so he was like, "Well, how far away is it?" And she's like, "Oh, it's, it's not that far, whatever, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, I'm standing there and she's kind of introduced, and he was like, "Okay." He's like, "You're walking her to the hotel." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I was planning, I was like, I want to make sure she gets there safe and everything." And he's like, "If I don't see her tomorrow, I'm going to kill you. I will find you and kill you." And I was like, "I promise I will get her there, or I'll already be dead. If she doesn't get there, it's because they killed me first." I was like, "You won't have to wear," but I was just like, I will, I'll get her there. I promise. And, so I got her to the hotel, and then the next day we ended up meeting up, and like, I was like, "Hey, could we go back by him and just show him that I got you, that you're alive, and that I did what he asked, so he doesn't have to hunt me down and kill me someday." And, so we went over there and did that. And, and then he was like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, thank you for taking care of that. She got there safely." And, so, if I hadn't done that, she could have been killed, and then none of you would have Heated Rivalry. So I've got a similar story involving, if you ever see a cover or like a painting or, art by James Jean that you like, you should also thank me. But I won't tell that story today. I'll tell that some other time.
How many people have you helped not die?
But
out on the streets right now getting shot. But
what am I doing here? So I should be out there saving people, so they can create something that people will like, 12 years later or something.
That's
that will
the story
be a
of
huge
Superman,
hit.
Man.
Yeah, who knows how many culturally significant works of art I've somehow helped create by all my good deeds. I'm kidding. But yeah, so that's true. And I was just like, oh, well, I kept hearing about that show, and I was like, hey, this sounds kind of familiar. I was like, don't I know something like this? Or didn't I hear about someone doing something like this? And then it's like, I was like, hey, wait a minute.
Well, if I could slap shots.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good things, but I don't have time for anything but Star Trek right now.
Yeah, no, I get you, man.
It's so good. Star Trek The Next Generation is such a soothing balm on the soul right now. Oh, my Lord. People that just deal with problems that seem insurmountable and like think their way out of things. And oh, boy. So nice to see competent people doing things in a cooperative way. I heard someone refer to it as competency porn.
Yeah, man, you got to see Send Help.
I can't wait. I'm like, I really, it's just a matter of we finally got where we can go to places here in the last, couple days. And, but for a while it was like the movies were not something we were really willing to risk. And then Dumb and Dumber came up and it was like, well, we got to go for that.
Man, I got a crab cake. I paid off my last student loan and I saw Send Help. It was the best fucking Friday night of my life.
Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll report back by this weekend.
Chris, where can people find you?
Oh, that's right.
I checked our email.
Haley.
We don't have any emails. So
boo. At the Chris Haley. I'm worried that we may have some DMs people have sent me that they've gotten lost in the Twitter DM situation turning.
It's a fiasco.
Yeah.
That's why I started just texting you all the time. DMs
yeah.
are just insane now.
I don't know what the deal is with that, but apparently I had missed out on a bunch of stuff. So if there's been anything but it's at the Chris Haley on Instagram and Twitter and Blue Sky. Even though that's not the format, it's you can find me. It's easy.
Yeah, you're an easy guy to find. Darwin Cook tracking you down over the years.
Always on the run from Darwin Cook.
But, well, folks, thank you so much for listening to our podcast about Superman and his untimely demise. Hopefully he'll turn it around next time we talk about his comics.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll catch you on the flip.